llama me queman. Por eso ya me fui en la Porsche
Si
Panamera.
sé que estás muy buena y todo, pero el que juega con fuego se quema. Sabiendo que existen miles así de hermosas y así de nenas. Quieres que por un ratico me den castigo, me den condena. No lo estás pensando bien. A ese barco no me montó, de eso estoy certero. Nací pa' cantante, no pa' por diosero. No me como restos de la otra gente. Esa muchacha tiene que tener la mente, pero en Marte. Si quieres de eso con solo abrazarme, que Dios cuide al que quiera enamorarte. Aunque es algo que la mayoría comparte. Yo me retiro, chico, porque no está bien. Después de esto, ¿cuál mujer le va a creer? Cuando me prometa por siempre serme fiel. Con este mundo ya no existe una mujer que yo quiera tener, chica, no está bien. Después de esto, ¿cuál mujer le va a creer? Cuando me prometa por siempre serme fiel. Con este mundo ya no existe una mujer que yo quiera tener. Si quieres adivinar, sé que estás muy buena y todo, pero el que juega con fuego se quema. Sabiendo que existen miles así de hermosas y así de nenas. Quieres que por un ratico me den castigo, me den condena. No lo estás pensando bien.
Me dicen pistolero, me llaman bandolero, pero la verdad es que soy un marinero. Navego la vida sin problemas, soy sincero. Pana, ya tú sabes que comencé de cero. Me baño en refresco y solo porque puedo. Hago lo que quiero debajo de mi techo. Me baño en refresco y solo porque puedo. Mami, ya tú sabes, este papi está bien hecho.
Si quieres adivinar, sé que estás muy buena y todo, pero el que juega con fuego se quema. Sabiendo que existen miles así de hermosas y así de nenas. Quieres que por un ratico me den castigo, me den condena. No lo estás pensando bien.
Ya tú sabes, man, esto es la promesa,
Lone,
Exacto, porque sabes cómo, baby. Porque sabes cómo, Denny. Porque sabes cómo, Denny. Porque sabes cómo, Denny.
representando.
El lunes, vamos a bailarlo, vamos a danzarlo. It's Ricky Baker on the beat,
Es difícil disimular lo que pasa por mi mente cuando te tengo de frente, yeah. Esas ganas de tocar ese cuerpo lentamente, divertirnos malamente con tu piel. Baila hasta que la noche se acabe, bailamos salsa y reggaetón. Eres hermosa y a tu cuerpo lo sabe, que bailas con esa pasión. Si lo haces como eso lo mueves, yo me imagino eso en acción. Chica, sé que tú tienes la clave, baila conmigo esta canción.
Baila conmigo, tú no bailas con cualquiera. Hagamos de la fiesta nuestra cita en primavera. No estamos para acordarnos de tantos malos momentos. Estamos para disfrutar y vivir una nueva era. La más loca, la que más se atreve. La envidia de todas las mujeres. Está soltera y también como lo mueve. Esa cosa sí que tiene poderes.
Mami, tiene lo que ninguna chica tiene. Tanto flow que no se compara en niveles. Mi modelo, de ti tengo 10.000 carteles. Eres icy, espero que no me congeles. Paso a paso demuestro lo que ella tiene. Sin reposo te baila trapeza y reggae. Por si acaso le muestro lo que tiene el nene. Lo que quiero, mami, solo que lo ordene. Baila hasta que la noche se acabe. Bailamos salsa y reggaetón. Eres hermosa y a tu cuerpo lo sabe, que bailas con esa pasión. Si lo haces como eso lo mueves, yo me imagino eso en acción. Chica, sé que tú tienes la clave, baila conmigo esta canción. Hermosa, tú eres la mera mera. Me encanta el look de la nueva era. Dile a Mike que ya le encontré nuera, que esa nena ya es mía, la loca para afuera. Así que tranqui, tranqui, que ella se lo goza con un funky, funky. La beso y brinco como un monkey, monkey. Es tan dulce que le dicen pinky, pinky, bebé.
Eres mi miel siga on the floor. Dale, muévelo, muévelo, muévelo. Tú naciste pa' esto, pa' el reggaetón.
Baila hasta que la noche se acabe. Bailamos salsa y reggaetón. Eres hermosa y a tu cuerpo lo sabe. Que bailas con esa pasión. Si lo haces como eso lo mueves, yo me imagino eso en acción. Chica, sé que tú tienes la clave. Baila conmigo esta canción.
El lunes.
Baila conmigo, baila conmigo.
Vamos a darle para adelante.
Ya le muévelo, 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 muévelo. Lunes, los más lunáticos. Tomando por noches enteras, tratando de sacar tu amor, pero eso me desespera, me desespera. Todo por culpa de tu dulzura, mami me engañas otra vez. Ese man no te da la altura ni a tu escultura que yo te dé. Todo por culpa de tu dulzura, mami me engañas otra vez. Ese man no te da la altura ni a tu escultura que yo te dé. Toda esa noche escuchen de tu amiga que ibas a estudiar. Lo hicieron, te fuiste a la fija, pues nada que hablar. Cupido, gracias por la vida que me quería estar, pero mejor yo la rechazo que me va a matar. El último rey Cupido, juro que soy el que río. Trata a los otros como quiera que a ti te traten, por eso es que te trato con desprecio y pecho frío. Yo te bloqueo de todo del Insta, mamita, y te doy las gracias, pero no me llame a mí cuando te engaño. Es el culo barato hecho gracia. Mami, me engañas otra vez. Ese man no te da la altura ni a tu escultura que yo te dé. Todo por culpa de tu dulzura. Mami, me engañas otra vez. Ese man no te da la altura ni a tu escultura que yo te dé. Primero fueron las rosas con un te quiero. Después me dio las espinas, quería dinero. Estoy cansado, tú siempre vienes con pero. Y de 100 chica te pondría yo un 0, porque no vales la pena ni tú jugando de presa. Tú eres de la calle y actuando como una fresa. Ese clon barato también le va a dar pereza de lidiar contigo porque tú cargas y pesas. Todo por culpa de tu dulzura. Mami, me engañas otra vez. Ese man no te da la altura ni a tu escultura que yo te dé. Todo por culpa de tu dulzura. Mami, me engañas otra vez. Ese man no te da la altura ni a tu escultura que yo te dé.
Nice shot for me! Perfect!
Six major. As things are really starting to heat up at this point, we have found our way all the way to the grand final best of 5, where it is going to be incredibly exciting. So much is riding on the line now for two teams that are left in the tournament, Team One and Team Liquid. It's a rematch from our upper bracket semi-final, but the difference is it's not down to 3 maps, it's up to 5. An awful lot is riding on this: the money, the points, the bragging rights to be the best in Brazil. It's going to be banging. It's going to be an incredible day, but I've got an incredible man by my side for the whole damn thing. Ace of Pyrite is joining me as per usual.
Here, locked, loaded, jacket, and ready to roll with some unbelievable siege. We know it's coming. Everybody at home knows it's coming. Team Liquid versus Team One facing off in, this time, the first of the major finals. We were a little bit further down the line last time, but we are bringing the show to begin with here. There's plenty more to come from the other regions, of course, but today there's plenty to come from the two big teams that we've got here in the final.
There really is. It's going to be sick, Tim. There's so much on the line for both of these squads, and I'm just excited to kick it off, mate. We'll get straight into the bracket and recap what's happened over the previous 2 days, though, so everyone's up to speed with how much blood, sweat, and tears has been left here in the Major, Tim.
Oh, we've had a real treat. It's been absolutely unreal so far. Team 1 MIBR started out as our first matchup. It seems like an age ago now, Jackie. It was a lot of good siege ago, I can tell you that. Team 1 coming out, it was a close fought match, to be fair. 2-1 with MIBR. Top seed rumbles on. Team Liquid, of course, just absolutely bossing the Ninjas in Pajamas all over them. 2-0, and they progressed through to that upper bracket as well. And then, for me, we saw one of the games of the tournament so far, MIBR versus NIP, and it went down to the wire, Jackie, all the way to the third map, all the way to overtime. It was right down to the wire for the Ninjas to keep themselves in it and get through to that lower bracket final, but ultimately they were bested by Team 1, who find themselves back in the grand final for a big rematch against Team Liquid. They're going to look to be overturning that upper bracket final upset, and there was some interesting things pointed out by Bodega that maybe suggested Team 1 weren't at tip-top form for that upper bracket final, and maybe we're going to see something different out of them today. He was certainly keen to say how ready they would be.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Tim, right? Our first semi-final, obviously, Bodega in the interview, he said that he felt sick, that he wasn't able to aid the team during that game. He only felt well enough to come back and really sit in during semi-final 2 in the lower bracket. And what a world of difference that made. A 2-0 over NIP. The reigning champions from the August Major left the tournament in 3rd to 4th position, which is a crazy feat, and it means we get set up with this banging game, our grand final best of 5. Team Liquid, of course, have that one map weighted advantage as they came in through the upper bracket, whereas Team 1, Tim, they get nothing to aid them. They're going into this on the back foot, and they're going to need to give it their all.
They do. I think it's worth mentioning, whilst we've got the bracket up as well, Jackie, we of course had our Mexican final last night as well. It was casted by the wonderful Blue and Stokes, and they saw it go all the way to 5 maps, and Estral it was that were able to overcome Timbers, and it was a good fight all the way to the wire, but ultimately Estral, they take the top spot once again, and they win out in that Mexican grand final. But as you say, back to the action that we're going to have today, Team Liquid versus Team 1. One map advantage, which makes the first match that we actually play tonight extra important, Jackie. If Team Liquid come out and secure that first map, they are 2-0 up and only 1 map away from victory. At that point, it was what we saw NIP do last time around, and it just really feels like it's a big deal, is that it's essentially, I suppose, officially the second map, if you will, with Team Liquid already having one on the board, but the first that we're going to see played out. If Team 1 can secure it, they level things up. They drag themselves into it, and from then on, it's just a whole new game starts. It's effectively a best of 3. It's let's see who can win from here on.
Oh man, there's so much that goes into it, so many exciting nuggets that have been sprinkled in, Tim, and I can't wait, mate. I'm really excited. The past 2 days have been brilliant, and now me and you, we're strapped in together, arms locked, and we're ready for the grand final, a best of 5 that is going to be tantalizing. Any Siege fans out there that are tuning in for this one, let all of your friends and family know. Get it out on Twitter, get it out to your contacts, and tell them this is going to be an epic, Tim. 2 squads that have proved an awful lot. Liquid, of course, more known on the global siege scene, but Team 1 finally have a stage in front of them where they can show why you should give a damn about this team, why you should be interested, and why you should be becoming a fan, because they're incredible at siege.
Certainly are, and that's one of the main reasons that I'm so glad that Team 1 have found their way to this grand final. You know, we're big fans of all the LATAM teams, and it'd have been great to see anybody get here, but Team 1 have shown such promise throughout Stage 1 and Stage 2, and for me, as I said yesterday, they are one of those teams that I think your global siege fans, they might not be too familiar with all of the individual players. They'll have heard Team 1, they'll know who they are. Of course, you couldn't fail to know at this point in time, but coming in and seeing those names sort of become household, particularly the likes of Raps, Falls, Lukid coming in doing big work, and they are a real advert for the talent that is there throughout the breadth and depth of the LATAM region.
Oh, they got some heavy lifters. They've genuinely got a quality squad. It's also behind the scenes as well that means so much to a squad like Team One. Bodega, we've interviewed him countless times now. We got to speak to him again yesterday as well after the victory over NIP. And you could see it was just a matter of relief, feeling like they had finally made it to the final. And now he wanted to prove that they could win it. He was saying they're back for blood, Tim. This is a rematch where they're going in, although at a disadvantage in terms of maps, in terms of mental game, I think they could genuinely be set up with so much confidence that they could come out swinging. Liquid might not be ready for this.
Absolutely. I mean, the first time that we spoke to Bodega back in stage one, obviously Team One were a little bit of a revelation to you and I, Jackie, and we spoke to Bodega, and then he said, we're going to the major, we want to win it. It didn't happen for them in stage one. They got there, but they were dumped out at the first opportunity. They've come back strong this time. Had to fight through that lower bracket, but they've done it in style. They've got themselves to the grand final, and this could well be the crowning glory for all the work that they have sunk into that team. But there is a real behemoth of an opponent up against them. They've got a real challenge to overcome before they get to that point, Jackie, and that is in the shape of Team Liquid right now. They are going so well. They've looked so strong in this major. Mav, we spoke to him. He's been putting work in, doing the rich time with the VODs, and it really is paying off at the minute. A tough opponent.
Oh, yeah. They have been hitting some gnarly shots, and we've got some of them. We caught a lot of them on camera, so we'll roll back the days and have a look at the highlights, of course, from the major so far to get you excited and get you exhilarated about what is to come in our one series tonight, the best of 5 grand final. These, of course, are replays from throughout the major. Saturday and Sunday have both been tantalizing. We've seen so many jaw-dropping clutches, multi-kills. It's all been there, Tim.
It really has. We've had absolutely everything. We've had the explosives have been used. We've had some great gadget and utility work. We've had the headshots. We've had the multi-kills. We've had the clutches. It has all been in attendance at the major. And honestly, I think we're going to get more of those boxes ticked, double ticked, triple ticked today, as we're just going to have fantastic moments raining down on us, Jackie.
Oh, we will. We will. It will be raining down like a thunderstorm made of fists, because they're going to be slapping you in the face and getting you woken up and ready for the day. No matter what time it is, no matter what country you're from, grab a cup of coffee, get yourself sat down and strap in for what could quite possibly be one of the most memorable games of Siege we've had here in the BR6 in quite some time. Team One might be the underdogs, but they're going to be really coming out strong. Team Liquid have possibly looked in the best form we've seen over 2 stages of the regular season, Tim. They dismantled every team they've seen so far, and that is a scary feat for a side that was struggling up until the end of the regular season.
It is, absolutely. Like you say, they've been quiet. It seems like there's been a bit of a transition for them there, but I tell you what, I don't know if it's transition complete or what has gone on, but as we spoke to Sexy Cake, he said himself there's been a lot of work going in, and it really seems to have paid off. And honestly, for my money, Jackie, Team Liquid right now are looking more terrifying than they ever have done whilst we've been covering the LATAM action, the BR6. I think stage 1, stage 2, last major, everything. This is the best that Team Liquid have ever looked. They had a strong start in stage 1. The first sort of 5 or 6 play days, particularly out of the 9, they were very good. I still think that they are better now.
No, hands down. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Tim. That's genuinely the only way we can really describe them at the minute. They've just looked ferocious. They've come out with the claws out. They've gone for the jugular time and time again, and they've been picking up 2 O's, which is never an easy feat, especially not in bracket play in the 6 major as well. You think about the amount of pressure that is put on them, and they're just shaking it off like it's nothing. So let's have a look at the players that made that possible. We've got the rosters for both of these sides, but we'll start off with the boys that, of course, most of you will know and love. The known quantity of Team Liquid, Tim.
I'm going to allow myself the opportunity, Jackie. We usually breeze over them and say you'll know who they are by now. But Palu and Nesk, they are the ones to watch on this team. It is a team absolutely rammed to the rafters with talent. We've seen big moments. It was something I said coming out of yesterday. PSK, Moringa, Sexy Cake, also all stepping up in their own ways, all getting frags, all getting those important clutch moments. But Palu and Nesk, They are the two. If they turn up, if they are the spark in the powder keg of Team Liquid, there won't be enough liquid on this planet, Jackie, to put out the fire that they will start.
Oh boy, oh boy. Oh, it's not hyperbole as well. It's genuinely true. It's how explosive they are. They're like rocket fists. They just come at you with a left-right hook and they leave you sleeping, Tim. But a side you shouldn't sleep on is Team One. Yes, it's the opponents. Yes, it's the underdogs, but they're still a quality Siege squad.
Absolutely. Talent through and through. All 10 players in this server have earned their right to be here, and they are all going to show exactly why they belong on the big stage. Now, I think one that I've got to shout out for Team 1 particularly has been Reduct over this major weekend. He had a big finish in the last couple of play days, and he has continued his form on here. Definitely one to watch, going big on the entry, keep an eye out in the early round. He's finding those frags. We've got Lukid, who's been playing very well. Foles has been solid on getting that diffuser down, finding the frags, and they're always, of course, backed up by Raps as well, and of course, Philippox just rounds things out. As I say, where do you start with it? It's just talent through and through.
It is. And there's so much more talent that's not even shown there, of course, with Bodega, the mastermind that sits behind the scenes. We've been genuinely gifted, Tim, to speak to him so much throughout both of the regular seasons, but you can see how much thought goes into it in terms of the veto, when it comes to just spicing it up a little bit with some of the picks they'll throw in. Bodega has a good final say on a lot of that stuff, and it makes a difference. He wasn't there in that best of 3 against Team Liquid. Unfortunately, he was a bit ill. He's felt better. He came back versus NIP, and they came back. They're now in the grand final. We'll see if his influence will help them in this rematch, and we'll also see, Tim, if his influence helps them in the veto, as we have our best of 5 grand final veto ready to sink our teeth into.
Well, it's interesting because obviously most of the maps, the majority will be played. 4 out of the 7 will be played today. The deciding match, we will never get that far. So effectively, it's banned out for all intents and purposes. But the aim for Team Liquid here is to get themselves an advantageous start. They want their strongest maps to be coming into. Now, Team Liquid have shown that they've been very good across the entire pool, to be fair. But what are those first 2 bans going to be? I think we're going to see potentially Theme Park going out at that point, or it might just be left to sort of fall by the wayside later on. But it wouldn't surprise me to see it go. And maybe Cafe as well to sort of find its way out of there. Team 1 happy to play on Villa. I think Team 1... I don't think they'll ban Clubhouse, but I'm not sure how keen they'll be to play it after yesterday's result against Team Liquid, Jackie. It wasn't a fun time for them on Clubhouse. I think we could see Team Liquid coming out and just picking that up as their first choice. Team 1 went well against NIP on there, but I'm sure Team Liquid would fire a lot of confidence into it. So the 4 that we're going to see for me, I think we'll see a bit of Clubhouse. Oregon is almost a given. Consulate, and I think maybe Coastline.
Ooh. All right, well, let's have a look. We'll see what the veto is going to be. Producer Simon, do the honours for one final time in this major, as we can have a look what's going to the wayside. Villa and Cafe banned out. We get Clubhouse to start. Straight into Coastline, Tim, with Oregon coming up, and then Consulate.
Let's go. That's what I can't ask for a better start to the grand final, can I? There we go. We've got Clubhouse, Coastline, Oregon, and Consulate. I mean, when I'm picking the majority, it does make my life a little bit easier, but at least everything's on track, Jackie. We're on track.
Oh, man. No, you're right. You're right. And, of course, the final map there, grayed out, because that's the automatic 1 map advantage that goes the way of Team Liquid. The stage is set, Tim. The lights are on. The players are getting ready. They're getting warmed up. They've got their little hand warmers going ham on them. I just can't wait to get into it. This is going to be huge. The map veto is actually pretty sick for this as well. Genuinely, I think we've done as good as we can do in terms of getting quite possibly the best major final we could have got out of an upset.
I wasn't just talking in terms of what I thought we might see. I wasn't just thinking about the logic of the teams. I was thinking about what I wanted to see, Jackie. I was thinking about what was going to be best for every set of eyes at home watching this one. Clubhouse and Coastline is an absolute powder keg of a start. It is explosive. What are we going to see out of Team 1 on Clubhouse given yesterday's results? They had 1 good, 1 bad. What will we see? And then Coastline. We know Team 1 are good on there. They've bested Liquid before, but can they do it again?
Oh, can they do it again? That's the big question. But if you're sat here questioning what's the prevalence of the Brazilian scene inside of Siege, and maybe you haven't stepped your toes into the BR6 ocean that me and Tim have been in for the past 10 weeks, then let's get you up to speed and show you just how damn good the Brazilian community is, Tim. We've prepared a little video to recap some of the great achievements that have occurred inside of Brazilian Siege, because there's been so many of them and the list is growing. The longer this game goes on, the more we're seeing the Brazilian scene rise to prevalence.
Oh, it's absolutely massive. You can see from the images in front of us, we've had some big events there over the years. The fans are so passionate. They really do love their Siege. I dare say, aside from Invitational 2020, I think we've had one of our biggest ever events out there in Brazil. It was electric. I remember the noise coming from the crowd, even watching it through Twitch. It was absolutely unbelievable. And then the support, I was fortunate enough to be present at Invitational 2020 to watch NIP run through to the grand final, Jackie, and the support that they had there on the day, to say that they were up against the North American team as well. They were just as loud as the rest of the fans for SSG. It was an unbelievable day, and it just goes to show the passion that comes out of this region.
And I think you've hit the nail on the head right there with that one word, passion. This is quite possibly the most passionate community we see in terms of how vocal, how loud, and just how much love they give to their teams, Tim. So, thank you for joining us here tonight. There is a lot of love coming out of me and Tim for all of the players that are going to be on the server, but also for the fact that we've got so many of you, from no matter where you're from, joining us for the English coverage of this best of 5 grand final. It's the November major. We're finally in November. And it's all going to be kicking off in a few moments, Tim.
We are mere minutes away at this point, Jackie. We've got everybody loaded into the lobby and we will be getting things rolling. We'll be getting underway before you know it, and they are going to come out at 100 miles an hour. There is no two ways about it. But as you say, whether you have been with us from the beginning of stage 1 all the way through, or maybe, just maybe, this is your first ever English-speaking LATAM broadcast with Jackie and I. First of all, where have you been? But you are, of course, welcome, as is everybody here. We have a lot of fun on the stream. We have a lot of great Siege, and hopefully we can take you along for an unforgettable ride today.
Yeah, because you've seen all the pieces of Brazilian Siege rising through history, and this is just another stepping stone in that story. It's time to step into it, though, as we're going in to our opening map of the best of 5 grand final here for the 6 major. It's Clubhouse to start us off. Team Liquid versus Team One. Team Liquid, of course, have a 1 map advantage coming into this. But, Tim, we've seen a lot of resilience shown from Team One over the past 3 days. We've also got Bodega back on their side for this final as well. So there's a lot of arrows pointing to the fact that this should be far closer than the best of 3 ever was.
Well, let's get this show on the road. We have headed over to Germany, loaded into Clubhouse, and the operator bands, they are raining in right now. We've got Glaz taken out immediately by Team One. It's something that we've seen consistently throughout the major, Jackie, after he's had that small buff that's just affected the way that the thermal imaging on his scope works. It just recuperates quicker after his movement. It's available sooner for him, and Team One, they don't want any part of that, and they've been banning him out consistently across the weekend now. Thatcher, Mirror, they also go by the wayside, and we'll have the final ban coming in from Team One. I would expect to see something reasonably usual here, which would be something like a Maestro or a Clash, or maybe a Valkyrie. There we go. It's Kaid. Again, not too unusual. Reasonably normal on Clubhouse to prevent those hatches being protected with the electricals. I think it's a good opportunity as well, before we get into this one, Jackie, just to give a shout out to our fantastic observers that we've had throughout the series and throughout the season. We've had Palomidas, of course, but today it is Duda Avello who is going to be bringing you all the action, and she really has done some fantastic work throughout the season, so thank you very much to those guys as well for the coverage.
Oh, no, absolutely. Genuinely, thank you to everyone behind the scenes that makes LATAM possible. That producer Sam, without Jacob, Face It, and Ubisoft allowing us to be here, we'd never get to sit here and cover the real Tier 1 Siege that we see coming fresh from Brazil. We're so happy to be in this position, and I'm so happy, Tim, that it's starting here on Clubhouse. A best of 5 grand final. Team Liquid coming in from the upper bracket. Team One fighting from the lower bracket. This is it. It all starts here. We'll see where the story goes. We'll see what the outcome will be. But there is only one outcome at the end of this whole thing, Tim. One of these two teams will snatch the crown and walk away as the champion of the Six Major.
Here we go then, round one. It's time to strap in and lock down because we will be seeing this one through right to the finish. And when we get there, we will have a new LATAM major champion, NIP, unable to defend their championship. And we will have a new number one crowned. But will it be Team One, or will Team Liquid be able to continue the storm that they have had through this weekend so far, not losing a map yet? Will they be able to continue that trend and lock down Clubhouse to give themselves a 2-0 start in the series? Or will Team One be able to show us something different, something that they weren't able to bring to the table yesterday? Right now, we've got a bit of a defensive hold up on that top floor. Church and Arsenal is your first sight of the day. And Team Liquid, they are going to be on the attack. First task at hand is going to be to clear out those Team One roamers up on the top floor.
Obviously, Team One against NIP on Clubhouse, they got a bit bold, Tim, and they played bar, and they won bar. They're not going to be doing that here today, though. They have, of course, realised, don't pull it out in the grand final. Don't go for the cheese strat again. It worked once. Count your blessings and forget about it. Just keep that smug grin under wraps. Let's see, though, what's going to leave them feeling smug here into this first round, Tim, and where the advantage will come from. I'm curious. I think Clubhouse is a great opener in this series because we've seen a lot of success and peril between both of these sides. For Team Liquid at the minute, though, it's fairly standardized. They're not doing anything crazy. They are actually getting themselves an early entry, though, as Redux swings out looking through the server window and gets jump scared by Palu, who's holding the angle, gets an easy frag, and that's your entry found with 1 minute and 25 still left on the clock.
Now, that is a big start for Team Liquid, and it is not the sort of thing that Team One want to be seeing. Redux so strong yesterday in those entry battles, unable to secure it for them today, and they find themselves without the mute. However, there has been a bit of time wasted. 1 minute 10 remaining, and Liquid still up on the top floor. There is work for them to be done. Felipox is trying to hold down the bar. He's on the vigil. He's going to get challenged. He's looking to get pinched. He does manage to down one, but he's closed out by Nesk. Palu is picked up as well, and with low HP on the Hibana, it's not the end of the world. It means that he can get in there and get that utility. But now then, what can Raps do here? Completely unaware of his presence in stock, I think, at this point. Team Liquid might have just been a little bit remiss. I'm not sure about that tactic, opening up the wall with the Nitro. It's really going to signal that he is there and trying to push on the flank. He's actually been joined, I think, by a second man. Lukid had just dashed up the blue stairs there, but they're going to retreat back to site. 26 seconds left to go. They don't want to leave the defenders on site light-handed, and they're just trying to get in there now. And Team Liquid looking to build the pressure. They haven't got the wall breached. They're going to have to start searching for kills. 16 seconds left to go. There's the breach. In comes the push. In comes the shot down. PSK shuts down, falls, and that now leaves us in a 4 versus 2. Raps fighting back. 4 seconds left to go. Moringa's going to have to do something with his diffuser, and that's exactly what he does. And with a fraction of health, Palu shuts it down with a double at the end, and that is going to be the round going to Team Liquid. Solid start from them.
They come out swinging here into the major final. You pick up an opening round, that's fantastic. Because, of course, they are currently 1 map ahead as well because of the weighted advantage they got from coming into this through the upper bracket. That's going to aid them a lot. If they win on Clubhouse, it would be devastating to the morale of Team One. So finding a first round is going to set them up for that success an awful lot earlier. Palu found that first entry frag in record time, really. It was an unfortunate peak that came out. Reduct just swung onto him through the server window, but there was no instant reaction. He got a bit of a tag off, but it wasn't a frag. And at that point, fighting back 4v5 on your defense on Clubhouse, even if you want to turtle, when you're up against Team Liquid, it is going to be a very bumpy ride, and it proved to be one. With Liquid getting the opening round with relative ease there. Palu swinging, Tim, of course. 3 frags overall, a hat-trick into the round. That's a clean way to send a message.
Really is, and that's not the sort of message that you want Palu sending, to be honest, Jackie, because if he's going to come in with that sort of force to begin with, it is not going to get any better from there. I can tell you that now. He was downed and then managed to come back and with 20 HP, still gets himself a double at the end, and that is the point that I was making about Palu there. You get him picked up, and even with low health, he'll adjust maybe the way that he plays slightly. He can use the Hibana utility without it going to waste, but also, it's just the fact that that player with that gun is still in the game, and Palu, he's always going to find a way, and that's exactly what he's done to close out the round there. So Team Liquid, they come out with a strong start, 1-0, and Team One, they think that they've got something more to show us down in Church and Arsenal. So we're going to head back down there again. I'll be interested to see whether they play exactly the same this time. Committed quite heavily to the roam and lost themselves a couple of players early in the round, and really did give Liquid quite a big advantage. They are up on the top floor once again. Reduct, he's going to be looking to make up for past mistakes.
We'll see if he can. If he can get himself an early entry this time, then all will be forgotten. Any bad memories will be left in a wayside. But so far, of course, it is still very early into the round. We've got 2 minutes and 10 seconds left, so no reason for them to get overzealous and really force the issue. They're playing effectively grouped up towards site. A little bit of roam game established off the back of Philippox, but he's keeping himself out of trouble on the vigil as well, so he won't be spotted out as easily as he does waltz his way around back towards the stairway. The rest of Liquid slowly pushing further forward as well, gaining map control here and there. Philippox really running the risk on this one. He's hoping that he'll be able to catch them off guard, possibly get a free frag, and then just peace out, get himself back towards site and give Team One the early game advantage so they can fight with a 4v5, rather than Liquid getting the entry frag like we saw prior.
Luca just holding a tight angle in construction there. He knows that the push is coming in from the master bedroom side, but he does have to dip away very slightly. Only a small step back into the cash room there as the Maverick opens up the wall, and then the decision is made for Reduct and Raps to just duck themselves away, but they get caught out. They get caught out by Nesk as they try to move through the lounge. There's nothing relaxing about that rotation, Jackie, as Nesk, he finds himself a nice kill and picks up Lukid this time on the opener. That's going to be the Jaeger going by the wayside, so somebody else is going to have to step up and fill the void that will be found inside the blue corridor. It would usually be held down behind the generator by Lukid on the Jaeger, and this time that's not going to be a possibility.
It's not. That's removed. There's again Liquid. They've got a huge edge coming in here. 5v4. Vertical angles being held, and they fire down death from above. A sexy cake will stun Philippox and make that gap even bigger, Tim. This is going to be terrifying now for the remaining triple threat of Team One. Raps has to do something crazy, but he's spotted out, casts out the Nitro. He'll get it offshore, but to no avail. No one will die because of it apart from himself and his teammates. As Redux gone, it's all left on Falls, trying to stop himself from falling, but he is slipping down. It's a slippery slope as Liquid are hitting him with the water jets, Tim. A second round picked up relatively quickly there as Palu does not stop headhunting.
Oh, this is a water cannon to the face, Jackie. There's no two ways about it. Team One, early in the game on Clubhouse, have just been knocked clean off their feet with that start. Not really competitive in round 1 or 2, and at this pace, they need to do something. They need to try and jam the brakes on. They need to get themselves away from that blast of water and get themselves back on the feet, Jackie, so they can just reassess the situation and see exactly where they are. But right now, I don't think they know which way is up.
I don't know where they are. It feels like they're just getting hit by those fists and it's keeping them knocked down. We got a replay from that round to take a look at as well. And of course, it's the main man, Nesk, with the opening frag. It's so unfortunate seeing kitchen control just being an issue already as well, Tim. It's an asterisk that we've seen on Clubhouse over the past couple of games, specifically for Team One as well, where even if they get themselves a nice early opener, it starts to unravel itself when it comes to fighting those vertical fights up into kitchen. They just get overwhelmed 9 times out of 10. They really do run the risk of peaking it too much, and it's hard to hit those shots, especially when you're the one firing up as well. Mobility comes into question, and they don't really get much for it. It all fell to pieces there. At that point, you're that far down, Team Liquid is just going to run onto site and take it as their own. That's what they've done, Tim. 2 rounds picked up already here, starting off exactly the way any Liquid fans would want it to.
The danger here for Team One, aside from the fact that Team Liquid have got themselves 2-0 up and done so in quick fashion so far, is the fact that the kills are being split between Nesk and Palu. We've said this before, Jackie. There's a little internal war that seems to go on sometimes within the Team Liquid side, and that is Palu and Nesk fighting for kills. And when they get to a point where they can confidently just lock into that, seems like almost a game between them, you know, who can clock up the most numbers, it becomes extremely dangerous because they start having fun and they start playing confidently, and it is an absolute nightmare for anybody to try and lock down. Raps takes a lot of damage there. That's about 50 HP gone off his health bar. I'm not sure exactly where that came from for the Goyo, but Reduct, he's going to toss out a cam there, and I think he's just waiting down in strip for the opportunity of a potential run out if they try to push the construction side of things. But right now, Team Liquid, they are pretty much focused on that eastern breach and getting control of Garage.
Well, there's a minute and 55 on the clock. If we do see a potential run out developing off the Valkyrie cam, there is someone waiting, lying in there, sat on top of the roof. It's Nesk who's holding the angle, so potentially could hit the shot and stop him from doing anything. But they're not going to commit to that just yet. No reason to, of course, from the reads with the black eyes. You've got 4 players grouped up, relatively wolf-packed here on the roof. East wall opened up already as well, so good timing being made here so far for Team Liquid. We're down to a minute and 30 though, and we haven't had any blood being spilt apart from the small wound that was inflicted onto Raps on the Goyo. Moringa starts to speed things up though, pulls out the skeleton key and makes his move in through Jim, creating a little bit of paranoia as well as he tears down these rotate holes. The rest of Liquid following suit as the convergence is building up, Tim, but when push comes to shove, can Team One defend their site this time in a 5-on-5?
Reduct just moves up from the basement level there, coming up the blue stairs, and that's a fantastic headshot from Raps. An absolute lip ripper onto Moringa, just deleting him out of the round, and with only a minute left to go, that could be a big blow. Raps putting every one of those few HP that he has left to maximum use and efficiency there to find himself that opening kill, and it is the book that has gone by the wayside. A lot of the work done that needed to be done by that operator. Access has been gained through construction, but one big problem for Team Liquid here is they don't have garage control. Jackie, even coming in through construction can be a struggle if you don't lock down the catwalk.
Unfortunately for Filipok, he's not going to be walking the catwalk anymore as his legs have been blown off by the nade of Sexy that doubles it up with a follow-up frag onto Raps as well. Riddling off the bullets and writing down names into his death note. 10 seconds left, Tim, and it's all going sour for Team One. At least Lukid's able to put up some semblance of a fight as he overthrows Nest. Redux reduced to nothing by PSK, and there's 4 seconds for Sexy to get this diffuser down. If they can find the frag onto him, they can still pick up the round, but they're unsuccessful in their efforts. 40 seconds left now for the retake. Palu making their lives much harder as well. The revolver comes out, but it's like a revolving door for Liquid as they just keep on picking up rounds. 3 in the bag already.
This is an absolute tour de force coming in from Team Liquid. It's no surprise given how we've seen them play over the weekend, but they're making Team One look like rank amateurs here. Coming in there, Team One have had a better round. That much they can at least take away from it, Jackie. They have been competitive there. They've taken it down to the final 10 seconds, and they had an opportunity to shut it down. But even with a man count advantage after that opening kill, they still couldn't get it over the round. It was a wonderful kill. We've just seen it from Raps there. You've got to remember those Maverick holes, they work in both directions, and he certainly proved that. But Team One, they're just not showing us the best that they have brought throughout the season at this moment in time. We really need them to wake up, Jackie, and wake up quickly.
Wake up is, I think, the most accurate way we can describe it, because we've spoken to Bodega multiple times in the sense of what goes wrong for Team One when they struggle into these matchups, specifically as well when they struggle on a map like Clubhouse, and it's always a matter of confidence. It's always that they stop playing like Team One. And honestly, Tim, at the minute, they're not playing like Team One. They're not playing bold. They're not playing brash. We're not seeing them actually going for those early opening frags and being able to give themselves a good leg up in the opening moments. We saw a face from Reduct early on, sure. That was back in the first round, but it was unsuccessful, and it seems like off the back of that, they've not wanted to try and push the envelope out any further. But you can't play that way. You can't let yourself be put into a box off the back of Palu just ripping off your face. You've got to bite back, and you've got to give it. We need to see Reduct doing what he was doing over the past 2 days, Tim. That's finding entry frags, being very confident and cocky when he's on an operator like Valkyrie. I want to see him get in there and make this round look a lot more gory.
Team One certainly need some sort of explosion into this one. They need to ramp up the energy. They need to start applying pressure. But you just start getting the feeling, Jackie, that it's not even really down to their performances at the minute. Coming in, they did pick up that opening kill. They did manage to get themselves a solid start. But it's just, as I said, at the minute on Team Liquid, everybody seems to be firing. So great, you've come in, you've taken Moringa off the board, maybe you get a kill onto Nesk, but you've still got PSK and SexyK that are going to step up, and that is exactly what we are seeing out of Team Liquid so far this weekend, and it certainly seems to be continuing today. SexyK on 4 kills there, we can see inside of 3 rounds, and we've been waxing lyrical about Palu and Nesk because they've been putting numbers down, but it is just happening throughout the squad, and that leaves Team One in a tight spot, and you've really got a feel for them at the minute. I know this team have got the ability, they've got the smarts, they've got the game sense to get themselves back into this. They just need to find a couple of defensive rounds. Now, looking historically on Clubhouse, it's not the best side for Team One, isn't defense. They usually do better on the attack, so we can be looking towards a potential strong second half from them, but the spirit could be broken before then, Jackie, if they're going in 5-1 or even, God forbid, 6-0 down. You know, that is not the position they want to be trying to do something on the attack from.
No, and you're right. And it's scary, of course, because obviously for Team Liquid, starting off on attack, they've got the opportunity to set the tempo. And they've already shown us the type of tempo they want this game to have. They're going in with a late round execute, sticking to their guns and playing with that standardized style that we've seen rise to the top. 60 seconds left on round 4 though. And finally, a kill will come in. Again, it's favorable to SexyK because he gets another perfect nade off, blows Lukid out of the server. I mean, he's on Jaeger, so it's quite ironic that in fact he did need to worry about grenades, Tim, as they've already lost their advantage. They've got 45 seconds to hold on to this site, and Liquid haven't even entered the compound yet. They're just fighting this war from outside and making it look easy. A trivial kill picked up as Falls will be left sleeping on his backside, and it's all fallen onto Reduct, Raps and Philippox. Habana peeking in there as Palu will tear down that reinforced wall, giving them an easier time of getting in from garage straight into server room, and this diffuser should be going down quite soon. SexyK has it on his back, but the smoke canisters will buy at least a bit more time for Team One. He takes a tick of damage, but he also takes Raps with him as he shuts him down. Nesk finding another frag onto Reduct, and it's all gone wrong. The smoke's still standing, but not for long as Palu comes in with a backstab, and Team Liquid look like they do not want to drop a round.
That was SexyK's round, to be quite honest with you there. He just absolutely dominated proceedings, from opening things up with a wonderful nade onto the Jaeger of Lukid to that headshot that we just saw down the length of the cash corridor, top of red stairs, behind the deployable shield. Have whatever utility you want, because if Team Liquid are hitting shots like that, they could have double the amount of shields, Jackie, and it just wouldn't matter right now because SexyK has absolutely removed Raps from the game there. It was just nothing that could be done about that, and that is going to sting. Team One right now, they've got to be smart in. This is a real sucker punch. This is a jab to the nose that's going to leave the eyes watering. They're not going to be able to see straight.
Oh, you know it's going to be broken, Tim. It's going to be horrible. It'll be like mine. It'll have a little bump in it. It's genuinely going to do some damage to the breathing of Team One if Liquid keep this up, as they are pummeling them. They really are. 4 rounds already here on Clubhouse, and they're just mopping them up like a spilt drink. You look at the kills, right? Palu 7-0. The man hasn't died yet. Oh, he's invincible. SexyK taking slices out of them all over the gap. He's already on 6 kills. Nesk close behind as well with 4-2. And who's showing up for Team One? Who's the big dog that's starting to bite back? No one, Tim. They're all quiet. At most, we get 2 frags for Raps and Falls, but that's it. And they're not really impact frags either. It's terrifying to see them getting manhandled like this.
And that's the massive problem for Team One right now, is they're not being competitive in the gunfights. And, you know, we can talk all day long about the strategy and the tactics and the setups and the techniques of Siege, but ultimately, it's an FPS as well, and you've got to come in and you've got to win your ones, you've got to win your gunfights, and you've got to be taking enemy players down. You cannot win this game solely based on objective, solely based on utility, or a lot of the time even solely based on kills. But kills are extremely important, and Team One, they really are struggling at the minute, so it doesn't matter how well the other factors are going for them, they're not going to be able to find rounds with the way things are going. And looking at what we've seen from Team Liquid so far, the concern now has to be that there's 2 more attacking rounds for them, Jackie. Of course, Team One, it's panic stations now. This is emergency action that needs to be taken. They have to do something here. They cannot go into the half 6-0 down. PSK opens things up onto Lukid, starts to shut that down, that roam again. We've seen this on the top floor roam repeatedly from Team Liquid. The clearance has just been too good. It continues. Palu gets reducked, takes a chunk out of Raps as well, who manages to hit him with a fantastic wallbang headshot through into construction there. Palu's going to be left scratching his head at that one, but serious damage done to the Valkyrie along the way. For Leapox, he's looking to make himself a little impact on the flank, but they're aware. You can see they're ADS'd in. He's going to take the Maverick down. Can he find a second? Absolutely not. Moringa shuts him down. And again, something that Liquid have been doing very well. You get one, they come back with 2.
You buy one, you get one free, and they are giving it with double glazed windows at this point, but falls. Oh, he comes in throwing stones as he'll shatter the jaw of Nesk and leaves himself in a 1v2, but look how low he is. Sustainability is a big question. Tries to make the best of a bad situation with his utility, though, as he'll open up a soft wall, chuck in those smoke canisters, but they're going in the wrong place. They're not going to choke out Liquid, and he's the one that's gasping for air. 5 HP left on him. A single bullet will shut him down, but he charges in with the SMG, cocked and ready to fire. Won't work out, though, as Moringa peeks and punishes. Team Liquid continue on with their undefeated spree here on Clubhouse. Round after round on attack, they are not dropping anything. Tim, there's a possibility, mate, that if they keep this up, we could see a 6-0 flawless half in a best-of-5 final for the Major. There's possibility that this could be a unicorn game if they go 7-0.
Getting very concerned for Team One at this point, because mentally this is going to be difficult to come back from. As you say, 5-0 down at the minute, and I did comment that Team One tend to be better on the attack of Clubhouse, but the big question mark now, Jackie, is, are Liquid going to win any less than 2 rounds on defense? Because that's the point that they now find themselves. As good as Team One can be on attack, can they really hold Liquid to only 1 successful defense with the way the gunfights are going at the minute? And I've got to say, Jackie, I don't think they can. So I think at this point, you're almost writing Clubhouse off. You're looking towards map number 2 already. You know, you're potentially coming in there with a 2-0 lead for Team Liquid. And even coming into Coastline, where we know Team One is good, they're going to have to hit a major reset in between these 2 maps.
They need to. They need to. It's the sort of game now at this point where you want Bodega behind them going, boys, where's the confidence? Where's the aggression? Because that's what's gone out the window, and you can't afford that to happen. Team One need to be the ones going out the window, literally, Tim, going for the jump outs, going for the bold plays, doing something audacious to just try and show Team Liquid that you've still got gas left in the tank. At the minute, Tim, it's all brakes, no gas, and that's not working well for them at all here on their defensive Clubhouse, as in the late round, they're just getting dismantled. More so than anyone, but just by Palu. He's rocking up and just rinsing them time and time again. It's the fact that one player on Team Liquid nearly has more frags than everyone on Team One combined, right? If that's happening, you've got to lick it and go, boys, what's going on?
Oh, the wheels have come off for Team One right now, and it's going to take a very good mechanic, a good few days to sort out the damage that is being done to this vehicle at the minute. There is absolutely, oh, it's a write-off. Forget about it, Jackie. You're not bringing this one back. This isn't just a scratch. This isn't just getting a dent out. This car is absolutely battered right now.
It's all gone wrong. Someone's put a potato in the exhaust, and it's blown the whole thing up, because it has blown up in the face of Team One at this point. Again, for anyone that's joining us as well and is confused about what this means, it's a best-of-5 grand final to be crowned the best in Brazil, to be the new champion, as NIP have already left the tournament. So one of these 2 sides will have to take the crown here in the November Major. And for Team Liquid, they've got a 1-map advantage already, Tim. If they win this map, that's a 2-map advantage. At that point, it's a best-of-1. They get 1 more map, that's it. It's good night, it's 3-0.
The net is already starting to tighten here in round 6. Team Liquid have got themselves the East Breach. They've got themselves control of Garage, and they're looking to move into Cash Room now. They need to clear out the top of the stairs. They are, of course, assaulting onto Gym and Bedroom, but they want to take this East side control and then work in from there. And if they're successful, it's a bit of an all-or-nothing play here. Team One really committing to holding this area of the map. If they come away without it, they're going to lose 2 men along the way, and they're going to be finding themselves 3 versus 5 now. Moringa, he gets the party started with a kill onto Lukin. He's really been struggling in the entry battles, and I feel for them, Jackie. I feel the pressure that was mounting on Raps there. 3 players just swarming all over him. This is just becoming an absolute brutal shutdown by Team Liquid. They're like hornets, Jackie. They're just going in there. They've got the smell of something sweet, and they are just swarming all over Team One right now.
They're coming for that ice cream because Team One are screaming, Tim, in frustration. At this point, you're down to a 3v5 with 30 seconds left. Again, a site hold like this is going to be incredibly awkward when you're that far behind in the battle of attrition. The battle of attrition that keeps on giving more stock towards Palu. Sexy Cake with his 3rd grenade kill of the game as well. He's hitting them with a decimation detonation as he just hits them all across the nation, Tim. Liquid are picking this one up in style. It's a flawless half. They don't drop a single round. They now move on to their defense and only need 1. Yes, 1 round to shut this down, have a unicorn game, a flawless 7-0, and move on to the next map.
And to put the cherry on top of that one, it was a flawless round to boot, Jackie. Everything flawless about round 6. Round half performance. Nade, as we see it coming in from Sexy Cake there. Absolutely no stopping Team Liquid right now. They weren't happy at not winning the August Major. They never want to be losing out to their rivals in NIP, and they have... I mean, message has been sent at this point. Now they're just sending page after page, Jackie. This is just going on and on here. They really are just hammering the point home at the minute as to just how dominant they really can be. And Team One, I don't know if it's a case of just, is it the big stage, Jackie? Is it, a bit of nerves kicking in? Is it, what's going on here? I mean, at the end of the day, obviously, we're not in a LAN environment, so they're comfortable in their own setup. They don't have the crowd baying. They don't have, all those Liquid fans in their ears and making it difficult to concentrate. So is it just the nerves of the occasion, or I don't know?
I don't know, because it's not them. It's not them at all.
It's really not. That's what we've got to stress here. We've really got to stress that point.
Like, it's the hard part to obviously explain to a lot of people that might be seeing Team One for the first time, right? Is you come in, you think, it's an underdog storyline. Yes, they beat Nip, but they'll get dismantled in the final. No, there was a very real possibility that this would have been a close best of 5. At the minute, though, Team One just aren't showing any signs of being alive. And it's scary to see, Tim. I don't know what's going on, but they're not hitting their shots. They're not playing confidently. And that's something that they're normally very good at. Adaptation and confidence has always been 2 of the big ticks that back up why Team One can best a lot of the great teams from the Brazilian region. But at the minute, they're going in and just looking a little bit lackluster.
They need to do exactly what Team Liquid have just done to them. That is the position they're in. Team Liquid guaranteed overtime here as an absolute minimum. And what we saw particularly good from Team Liquid was the roam clearance. They were able to come away after the first minute and a half, and they were 5 versus 3 when attacking onto Church and Arsenal. They were able to sweep across that top floor, find the men and shut them down. Team One tried to hold quite an aggressive line on the defense. They weren't cowed. They weren't forced back to site. Now, Liquid, they've played things slightly softer here. They've dropped back as the pressure's been applied, and we are still 5-5. Granted, it means that Team One have got some good possession of the map early on. They find the one that is left out there, Moringa being shut down, so now 5 versus 4. Everybody else has retired themselves back to site. Team One have got plenty of time, so they need to not rush, they need to not panic, and at 6-0 down, you could be forgiven for doing so, but they need to take the time now, use the seconds that they've got available to them, start opening up the vertical angles, start opening up the hatches, and start making a real nuisance of themselves.
They need to hit their shots, put their money where their mouths are, and back this round up. You've got an edge. That first kill onto Moringa could do an awful lot for them. They open up the hatch as well towards Kitchen as the Habana will back off, go on the drone, and start to do a bit of reconnaissance to figure out where the remaining 4 players for Liquid are. Timing-wise, we've just hit the 60-second mark, and Team 1, they're revving their engines. They've got their foot waiting to hit the pedal to the metal and drive their way into this site. And they've got to drive home the point, Tim, that they can win in their 1v1s. Liquid, even at a disadvantage, they've been hitting some disgusting shots, so you can't count them out into this position. They're holding as well. They've got all of their angles covered at this point. They're running crossfires, and they do have the 4 players down towards the site. Make that 3 players now, though, as Sexy Cake will finally meet his maker. Palu with a backstab that could be remembered for quite some time as he swings out, hits the first, goes in for the second, but it's a trade. They both go down, and Felipox can get himself back in action. He's on the Zofia, and it all falls on Nesk. Tucked in behind the bar. They're pre-firing as they're peeking, and he's shooting back. Mean mugging, but will it be enough? Fools will get the diffuser planted. 40 seconds left in a 1v3. Felipox is very low, yes, but the other 2, they're full to the brim when it comes to HP. The same cannot be said for Nesk, though. He's close towards the afterlife, and he'll be sent there by Lukid.
Well, the ship that was definitely rocking, it was in danger of capsizing, Jackie, has been steadied on what were very choppy waters coming into this one. Team 1, they managed to stabilize things by getting their first attacking round onto the board, so they can at least drop that fear out of their head of coming into the major with a 7-0 start. Nobody wants to face up to that reality, and Team 1 right now, they're not going to have to. They've got themselves something. They've got themselves, I'm not even going to call it a toe hold yet. They are basically on with the fingernails on the side of the cliff here. Jackie just clinging on for dear life, but they have an opportunity. They've got themselves back in. They got kills. They did well. Open things up onto Moringa, managed to shut Nest down in the blue corridor, particularly important because you saw exactly what happened. It is a real linchpin of that site, and when the attackers gain control of blue, we so often see that site fall apart, and a little bit unfortunate for Team Liquid. Palu made a great attempt, and I tell you what, if he doesn't get down there in that fight and he can dip away back into Arsenal, we might just have had a different round there, because it would have been 3 versus 3, and Team Liquid could have just reshaped a little bit, but it wasn't to be. Palu downed, and Team 1 took full advantage of it. Now, Liquid, unsurprisingly, they choose not to go back to Church and Arsenal. They're going to head up to CCTV and Cash. They've got a lot of leeway here. They've got a lot of breathing room. They can afford to take the chances, move around, and just see exactly what they can do. Prod and poke at the attacking side of Team 1. See if they can find a weakness in any of those sites.
Scary fact is for me, though, the one operator my eyes have immediately leapt towards is Sexy Cake on Clash. This man can be so annoying when he's on a shielded operator. He's down with the thickness and then some, Tim. His plays have been incredible over the regular season when it comes to just running amok and making your lives hell when you're trying to push into a site that is defended by Sexy on a shield op. The fact he's on Clash here could do some damage. I'm curious to see what he'll be able to pull off with it into the round, and time will tell. Team 1 early on, though, making quick work as they get that wall tailed down with absolute ease. It's a good start. They've also got Thermite brought into the mix as well. I'm just curious, Tim, if they can keep themselves in this game. If they can eventually mount a few rounds here and there, then yeah, maybe I'll start to believe and think that a comeback will be possible. But as the way things are looking at the minute, 5 rounds on the spin to even then have the possibility to go to OT, it feels like too much of a tall order.
Well, we've had a little bit of a poll in the chat, Jackie. We do love our Twitch chat interaction here on the English-speaking LATAM stream, and we've had a great response as well. Over about 800 people have responded to this one, so thank you very much to everybody for getting involved. 92% believe that Team Liquid closed this one out, and I've got to be honest, Jackie, I'm a little bit surprised that it's so low. I might have expected more.
Yeah, no, genuinely. I suppose that's the way it goes, though. That's the fan vote.
There's some real belief in the 8%. You got to give them that. You got to give them that. They stick by their team.
Nearly 100 people out there that are thinking, nah, it's all right. Reverse sweep. They'll bring it back. They'll get back into it, and they need to. They definitely need to. Because, of course, Liquid, they have that one map advantage. So if they lose this 7-1, 1, that's going to be soul-crushing, because Liquid will be in a great position then to take the whole major if they can keep that up over the course of the rest of the best of 5, Tim.
That's it. It's going to be in much quicker order than we might have expected. Sexy Cake just holding down that East Breach for the time being with the shield, and we see the reverse fire come out from Cashroom. Bills are flying everywhere as Moringa just shreds through them and shreds through the Thermite of Falls, shutting down the first man, doing big damage to Felipox on the Zofia as well. And with 30 seconds left to go, this is not looking promising for Team 1 as Palu shuts down Felipox. Sexy Cake down in the action. I'm not sure Palu will have the opportunity. He's going to go for it. There's absolutely no fear in the man jacket. He's picking up Clash at the breach. PSK, he's going to get shut down, but that shield is back in action, and that could be a massive play from Palu there. With 13 seconds left to go, that shield could be absolutely decisive. Now the kills start to rain in. This could be it for Team 1 inside the first map. Raps, he's making a go of it. He comes in, he finds one, shut down by Palu with the pistol. He punishes him in the clubhouse, and Team Liquid, they punish Team 1, take a second map, and like a good team of train drivers, Jackie, they've kept this one right on track.
Oh, right on track and right on time as it pulls into the station, with Team Liquid now being 2-0 in the best of 5 here for the 6 major. That is a hell of a feat. Team 1 though, Tim, it didn't look like them. It didn't look like them at all. We saw one glimpse of them actually playing some quality Siege, but that's nowhere near enough when you're up against the best form Team Liquid have been in quite some time. You got to do better than that.
You really do. You know, at the end of the day, this is your opportunity. This is a major now, and this is the time to step up. You know, this is where champions are made or completely broken on the rocks. And right now, that is what has just happened to Team 1, and it's an unfortunate start for them. I will put a little line at the bottom of this. I'll underline it, Jackie. I'll close Clubhouse out, and I'll say, can Team 1 do this? Can they still win the major? Can they come back from 2 maps down? Is it a big ask? Absolutely. Are they capable? You better believe it.
The 3-map reverse sweep would be a hell of a feat if they pull it off. The likelihood is slim, but if they can just take this time, the few minutes before the next map commences, to reset their mental a little bit, speak to Bodega, see what went wrong, and come back in with a whole lot more confidence, Tim, and yes, there is still a chance. If they play like they did on Clubhouse, though, this could be a very quick grand final. It could be somewhat reminiscent of what we saw NIP do to FaZe back in August. But we'll find out. We'll see how it's going to go, of course, as this was only the first map. There is still more to come. Please keep it locked here as the major will continue on when we're back after the break.
Pero tengo los míos, hermano. Aquí estamos todo bien. Me gozo la vida, pa' mí es la ley. Con todas las rolas como Fortify. Sin nada de flex, o jugando games. Me gozo lo mío, que estoy safe. Me gozo la vida, pa' mí es la ley. Con todas las rolas como Fortify. Sin nada de flex, o jugando games. Me gozo lo mío, que estoy safe. Cuando necesitamos una yo sé que te pone coqueta. Porque no busco trabajo, al menos vendiendo paletas.
Nice shot for me!
Perfect!
Welcome back to the Six Major, everyone. If you're just joining us, Team Liquid are now 2 maps up in our best of 5 grand final. That is a hell of a start, Tim, to what has been a ridiculous 3 days of Siege, and we're moving into the second map right now.
We're heading over to Ibiza, and we're going to see right now, Jackie, whether Team Liquid are going to have their day in the sun or whether Team One can come in and rain on their parade. And it's going to take something drastic from them, because I think it's fair to say they weren't even competitive on Clubhouse. Team Liquid was so hot coming out of that one, Jackie, my glasses were steamed up.
Oh boy, I was feeling it under the collar. I was sat there trying to find my jacket out to cool me down, Tim, because they were trailblazing. And we're going to be blazing straight back into the sequel here. The thing that terrifies me, Tim, is I look at Coastline. If this was like a best of 1, completely isolated for anything we'd already seen this major, right? I'd say, yeah, you know what? Team 1, they can definitely get the win here tonight. But if they play like they did on Club, Tim, I just don't see it happening.
No, I would agree with you. They have to show us something different. That is not going to cut the mustard, essentially. Can they do it? Absolutely. Of course they can. We know that. What I really want to see now is I just want to see Team 1 come out and be Team 1. Even if they lose the map 7-5, come out and be competitive. Show us just how good you are, because they really are now. Interesting ban coming in there. Team 1 have continued with the Glass. That's not too much of a surprise. Valkyrie, Malusi, all fair enough. We haven't had too high a ban rate for Malusi inside of LATAM. I think some other regions have seen slightly more bans. The Brazilian team's been more than happy to play with her on the board, but still a powerful operator, quite a gadget, so it's a reasonable one to take out of things. But the big standout ban for me there is Iana coming in from Team Liquid. Now that certainly is something different. I don't know if that plays into a particular strategy they've got. I'm sort of trying to rack my brain and think, quickly how would exactly how would that play in, because obviously there's information denial there. You've got those Geminis that can't be used now, but it's not like taking away a hard breacher, where you're specifically then going to think, right, we're not going to have that wall open. You're denying utility, you're denying information, which is great. But Team Liquid, I'm sure they've got something in mind, but it's an interesting one.
It is a bit of an odd fawn to throw in the side. We'll see how it affects the game. And overall, we'll see how this affects Team 1 in terms of the mental game. They need to completely reset. You've got to forget about the position you're in. You've got to forget about the fact that you are in a major final at this point. Hopefully, they've taken the few moments they had between Clubhouse to now to at least try and get themselves feeling a little bit more loose and go into it and swing. Go into it and just take fights, Tim, because they didn't. Reduct made 1 attempt in the first round of Clubhouse to try and play his usual style of being an aggressive defender. Other than that, it never happened again. We never see him really playing with the same level of pizzazz that he usually brings out, and that's terrifying. Here on Clubhouse, though, on defense, are they going to get aggro? Are they going to go for those runouts, those wide swings that we know can do so much for your defense in a map like this?
Have to do something. It's now or never. Ultimately, they've got to find a way. One, looking back to the regular stage, so throughout stage 2, not including the games that we've seen through the major. Looking at Coastline specifically, they played it 5 times, Jackie. 1, 2, lost 3. So to say that it is their choice coming in here, they haven't necessarily had the best performances. They do tend to be better on defense than attack. So at least they're on the right side of things there. They can come out and maybe find themselves a solid start, but it's a roll of the dice, because if by contrast Team Liquid come in and really hit them hard on the attack, and then they can move on to what should be a solid defensive half for them, it could be all in the books as far as Team 1 are concerned before they even really get an opportunity to fight here in the major grand final.
Very well could be. The chapter of their major run could be ended with a very unfortunate final map. But it's up to them. They still have the pen in their hands, and they can change the outcome if they can drop some sick wordsmith plays. Moringa, though, dropping a play that will definitely excite you as he swings in takes down the Rook instantly, and gives them a good opener. Now it's a 5v4 in favour of Team Liquid with 1 minute and 30 seconds left to play with. The smoke sets up in the corner. He can dash that out, and of course it will spread into the opposing room and do a little bit of damage back to slow down Moringa doing anything else. They also have a flank developing from Lukid, but he gives the game away. Shoots out onto the drone, worrying he was detected. Actually gets a frag because of it though, as Nesk's been knocked onto his backside and won't be getting up again. Moringa peeking out, doesn't clear the coast left before he walks in the corridor, and it's all starting to go wrong, Tim. 60 seconds left with a 4v2. This is doable.
A little bit wild from Moringa coming in there. Missing shots, Jackie. Not characteristic of this Team Liquid side, but Lukid able to take full advantage of that. And right now, Team One, they have spun this round on its head. There's a lot of work for them to do. They need to spin the entire matchup on its head, but they are certainly putting themselves in a good position to begin doing so in round one. They are 4 versus 2 now on the man count. Palu can be deadly with the nades. We've seen it before. In it comes. It bounces back. Will do a little bit of damage, but only a tickle as for Leapox. He tickles Palu right out of the round, taking him down with a headshot. And it's all down to Sexy Cake. 1 versus 4. He's going to get absolutely nowhere. Steps foot onto Cool Vibe stairs. And he doesn't like the vibe, Jackie. He doesn't like it. It's not chill at all as he gets shut down at close range.
Oh, he's definitely harshed his mellow, Tim. That's the sort of play that, you know, you're going to sit down for a sec and you're going to go, whew, that's so sad. So, not cool vibes at all. But way better vibes for Team One, right? This is the start we needed to see. You come out, you get a first round. Yes, it wasn't exactly the cleanest and it was very close, but it's still a round. We have a replay from that round as well to look at, and it is Moringa, of course, getting a bit messy. I'd imagine we'll also catch when he pushed out, going for the long push down the corridor. We didn't, but that was a really awkward one to look at. Didn't clear the close left, walked into the corridor and left himself so susceptible. Because of it, Tim, they fell into a deficit in the battle of attrition, and it all started to unravel from that point. So big question mark there. Don't know if potentially it was just a bit overzealous. Liquid, you know, at this point you've got every right to be incredibly confident and not show any respect, but just a tidbit where maybe they need to rein it in slightly.
I think part of the problem, Jackie, was potentially the deployment, the placement of the air jab. We saw it. It was just behind the first stack of bags as you go in from aquarium into luggage. You've got a travel case and a few bags on top of it there in front of you. The air jab was just on this side of that, so it does cut down the flank, but what it doesn't do is cut down the long angle. And we did hear somebody get punched from the feet by an air jab, and I'm not sure if there'd been 2 deployed in there or not. It might make sense as we had 2 defenders in there, so as one gets punched down, the other can make the challenge. We've seen that done a couple of times, but if that was the only air jab and the one we heard triggered was actually elsewhere, then I've got questions over that, because what you've done is you've actually allowed the defenders half of luggage to play into, and look at the damage that's been done from that. You know, they've absolutely had a field day from there. So that air jab, it's got to be deployed on that back wall. It's got to be cutting people off as they try to come in through that door. And I know that there's a little bit of cover there, so, you know, arguably you come through the door, you're going to get blasted into cover and you're going to be protected, but at least then you can be ready as the attackers to challenge into luggage. You know, they're not going to be able to come in and flank you in quite the same way. So, you know, there's always pluses and minuses to the placement of every gadget, of course. And, you know, hindsight's 2020. It's easy for us to sit here and to question a decision like that. But I'd be interested to watch that little passage of play again as well and just see if they sort of managed to squeeze enough out of the utility to defend themselves there, Team Liquid.
Yeah, a lot of questions off of that one. Questions that we'll have answers to in due time. At the minute, though, there is a trade that's developing, Tim. Redux swings out, takes down PSK, but Sexy will be able to bite back. Ness comes in and does one better as well, and Moringa's already got the plant down. They've got those track stingers in play to also cut off any rotations and make it very hard for the retake of this dynamic duo for Leapox and Lukid. Lukid nearly leaving it all on the hands of just the Goyo as he peeked out and took a bullet into his leg. It will slow him down, but his teammate falls first. He bites back with a single frag on Palu and has a hard task ahead of him. 3 kills to find and a diffuser to disable in the space of 20 seconds. Drop down through the drone hole. Nesk will be able to peek onto him and spams him in the leg. Oh, that's a 5 frag and a half, Tim.
Oh, he's just getting cheeky now. Look at that. Already outside, knowing that he was likely to get chased deep into bathroom when that flashbang went out. And it just shows how sharp Liquid are today. Absolutely ready to just take advantage of every single angle, every single pixel on this map. And what a great play from Moringa to just dash inside a site there. Team One, they need to be aware. They need to be alert from second one here, because Team Liquid, they are coming at this full force. And I know that they're going to be looking forward to their defensive half, knowing that Team One maybe aren't out always, not to say they won't be, but historically haven't always been as successful on the attack as they are on the defense. So any rounds that Team Liquid can steal away here, if they can come away with a 3-3 on the half, I think they'll be quite happy with that.
Yeah, no, especially compared to what happened on the first map as well. Like, any result is going to be far better than what happened, where you basically just got manhandled. We are seeing confidence coming back as well. Although it's only been a couple of rounds, already you can see the difference. Philippox and Lukid both have 3 frags at round 3. They didn't even have 3 frags by the point we got to like round 6 in the first map, Tim. Palu was out fragging the entire team. He had like 10 kills to them being sat on 6 by the time we got towards the second half. It was terrifying. So at least they've got back into their groove and they are taking firefights again, because you've got to play off that peeker's advantage, play off of the tempo and swing yourself in like you love a bit of baseball. Into round 3 though, Tim, where's it gonna go? Who will get the advantage here? As so far it's gone 1-1. Cheeky play from Redux as he swings himself out towards the ruins early on, but of course won't get himself a kill from the back of it. Does do damage at least to take down the drone and put a little bit of fear into them.
I thought he might have a bit of joy there, Jackie. I was going to say, coming into this round, I was just looking through and thinking about the first few rounds, and I was going to say that PSK has been a little bit quiet so far. Not characteristic of what we've seen over the last few play days, and particularly this weekend. He's been going very, very well, particularly on the fragging. You know, a lot of people who've watched Team Liquid over the years would expect PSK to have that diffuser in hand and be going in there as the planter. He's put up huge numbers on the support previously, but that's not what we've seen from him over this stage. He's switched away. He's been playing in more of a flex role, and he's been getting frags all over the map. So you can expect that from PSK, but he has been a bit quiet, and it was just him that was moving across to ruins, and I thought, is his day going to go from bad to worse here? Is he just going to get shut down by the Vigil on the peak? But Redux unable to catch his man and able to just barricade himself back into the map. But right now, we've got Team Liquid. They are moving in across the top floor. They've got themselves into VIP. Neski's going to take himself a little bit of damage, and they need to make sure they get that top floor locked down soon, because they're going to be looking for those vertical angles. Now, Balls, he just dips out and tries to challenge in reverse. The bullets are not going to find anybody through the floorboards, but Palu, he's in there now with that big hefty hammer. He's going to start doing a bit of home renovation, ripping up the floors. I don't think the management of this resort are going to be too happy with that, Jackie.
He hadn't even been hired, Tim. He's a cowboy builder that's come off the street with the men with Ven. Oh, there's vengeance coming out from Fools. He pulls out the shotgun and fires up some buckshot. No frags established, but he's going to try his luck time and time again. It's so hard to hit those hurty verties on a map like Coastline, though, because of the steel beams. They're not quite landing, but he is doing at least damage when it comes to the clock. There's only a minute left, and Team 1 still have all fire players alive. You say that, though, and here comes Moringa with a Vector, an easy adjustment onto Philippox, and they do fall into a deficit. 4v5 now for the final 45. Can they hold on to this and maintain this pace? If they do, that'll be a 2-1 split on the scoreline and set them up well on the defense. If they don't, Team Liquid are going to be quite content with the way their attack is going. Lukid gets droned out as well. The Mozzie's now got to rotate off. Otherwise, that could have been a huge backstab. It would have still thrown a major swoon in the side of this one. It's not looking good, though, Tim. There is a trade from Lukid, finds the quick adjustment back onto Nesk, and we do leave ourselves in a 4v4. 20 seconds left. Team Liquid, pressure's on you now. You've got to push into sight and get that diffuser down. Lying behind the desk, though, Falls here with Big Papa Pump. Could make a hell of a play as he peeks out, gets the first. There's another trade coming in as well, and it's looking rough for Liquid. It's down to 2 men, PSK and Palu, but they can't even get in, Tim. Every time they peek, they get a face full of bullets, and it's a round for Team 1.
Great round there, absolutely locked down inside the service entrance. I think Team 1 were well aware that that is exactly where the push had to come from. Lukid, he did a great job, needs a big shout there on the Mozzie upstairs, shutting down Nesk as he tried to challenge him, kept himself alive on the roam, and that is exactly why Team Liquid just had to dip down and just try to go default, get yourself into service and try and just brute force that diffuser down. But as you say, the SAS shotgun just lying in wait for them, and it is just an absolute nightmare to try and feed in and challenge at that range. It was merely 2 or 3 meters away, and it's going to kill you every single time, every single shot. It is just one pump, one kill, and on you go. Team One get themselves round 3, so that is 2-1 on the scoreboard now, and they're starting to fight their way back into things, looking much more competitive.
They are. They're looking much more like themselves as well, right? Because they were a shadow of themselves in Clubhouse, Tim. They didn't go for any peaks. They didn't go for any runouts. They didn't go for anything really after round 1. They just played turtle. They set themselves in sight and tried to win on the 5v5s, but 9 times out of 10, they were always fighting back from a 4v5 in the final 20, which is a horrific position to be in. This time, into Coastline, they've realized you've got to make the most of your rounds on defense here. It's always a little bit more attacker-sided, so when you're on defense, try and get as much as you physically can. And they are peaking, they are pushing, they are fighting, and that is actually working way better for them. Lukid, 4-1. Philippox, 3-2. Falls, 2 frags as well. So this is better. You've got that trifecta starting to step up and actually prove, Tim, that they can still hit their shots. And the opening map was just that, a blip.
Interesting setup coming in from Team One. You know, very aware we're in a major event here, so we may well have viewers that have stopped by thinking, what's this Rainbow Six Siege major thing that's going on? Maybe I should check that out. And the first thing I'd say is you're absolutely right. You definitely should be checking it out, and hopefully you're enjoying what you're seeing. Now, just to try and cover away, give you a little idea of what you might be seeing, we've got a Blue Bar and Sunrise defensive site here. So there's 2 attacking pushers, generally speaking. One is going to be the room bang in front of you that Nesk is starting to draw, and you get yourself established in that room, which is called Office, and then you breach in through the wall that we see just off to the side of the screen there and try and get the diffuser down behind the bar. Now, the reason that I say the setup is interesting from Team One is they have actually opened up a rotation in that wall, so they've done the breaching job for you. It's a tick in the box. They need to hold on to Office here because it would potentially give free access in towards site. They will likely have a man in the main lobby that's able to challenge through those peak holes that they've opened up in the bottom of the blue bar wall off to the side near the courtyard, but it still won't be easy. Now, as an alternative attack for Team Liquid, they could try and get themselves in through what we call the pool entrance and straight into Sunrise Lounge instead of the blue bar and try and get the diffuser down. But it seems like they're going for the Office push at the minute, trying to use the vertical from Aquarium for Leapox. He's having absolutely none of it. Shotguns out in force today, Jackie. It looks like a clear pigeon shoot as Sexy Kate gets deleted. But Nesk, he's going to move in. He's going to wipe out for Leapox. And right now, the danger is in place that I discussed. Team Liquid, they've got themselves Office. They can start using that rotation that's open. They don't have to breach. They can just go straight in now towards Blue Bar. And Team One, they have to have a fallback plan here.
The peaks that are coming out are favouring Team Liquid, though, as they play from a distance and they act decisive with the firearms. Nesk, he knocks Lukid down onto his backside. Recoverable? Yes. Will they be able to get him back up? Also a resounding yes. He's up on his feet as Reduck will save him, so at least it's still a 4 versus 4. Health-wise, it does favour Liquid a little bit. Sustainability is coming into question, though, as Nesk is also down to 50 HP. Making use of the Lion as well, so they can slowly work their way forward. But slowly isn't going to be something I'm saying for very long, as there's only 30 seconds left, so you have to turn that tempo up to 11 and drive your way into the site. Falls, if he stays alive, could be pivotal to the success of Team One, though, Tim, as he's still got smoke canisters, but apparently Rap's the one dropping bars as he peeks from above, headshots Nesk, and rolls on through with a pistol. Palu peeking back in, SMG armed, but Raps holds on the close angle again, surely not a hat-trick with a pistol to close it down, pulls out the blade, but the wicked Skengman won't find success. Instead, it'll be Reduct to shut down Palu and get another one for Team One as they keep building themselves a buffer on their defense.
I think that's quite promising for Team One there, that attitude coming out of Raps, just getting a bit cheeky, taking the attempt at the pistol, moving out with the swing on the knife, trying to hit a lucky melee. I think it just shows there's a bit of confidence and a bit of fun coming out from Team One, and that's exactly what they need, Jackie. They can't live in their own heads here. They can't let that first result on Clubhouse start to eat at them. 7-1 is never great. You've just got to move on from it. Everybody has them. You just got to wipe the slate clean and crack on, and that's exactly what they're doing here. And to see them playing with a bit of fun, with a bit of spice, having a bit of enjoyment out of it, that is exactly what you need. And that can be a very dangerous team when their backs are to the wall. And Team One right now coming out strong on Coastline. It was their map choice, and they're showing us why. 3-1 on the scoreboard. Heading into round 5, we're going to have Hooker and Billiards as the defensive site.
It's such a shame we didn't see this Team One, the real Team One, on club. Because it could have meant this best of 5 final would have had so much more weight behind it. Because obviously the scary factor is, even though Team 1 are starting to perform now here on Coast, if they lose one map, that's it. They still lose the major. Team Liquid are 2 maps ahead, whereas currently Team 1 are only 2 rounds ahead. That's the scary duality of what we're looking at, Tim, but hopefully they can keep it up, take it round by round, and maintain this new form, well, this newfound confidence that's actually coming out. Because it's beautiful to see. They're flourishing and looking way more like their former selves. They used to take fights. They used to go for swings. Even yesterday against NIP, that's why they won it, because they played with so much aggression and confidence. Now, we're seeing that again, and I think Team Liquid, well, they're a little bit choked up about it. I don't think they expected the comeback, Tim.
Well, I mean, for me, Jackie, I'm absolutely loving this performance now from Team 1. I want to see more of it. Let's just see the unpredictability, the aggression, and the real skill that they can bring into the server that we've seen. I feel a little bit like a proud parent. You know, I want to show Team 1 off to the world and say, this is what we've got. This is, you know, this is the pinnacle of LATAM Siege, because we've watched it all season. We've been thoroughly entertained by these guys. We know the... It's absolutely off the chart is their ability to hit shots, and I want to see it coming out, and that's exactly what we're getting right now. I want to be able to be proud, take the photograph. It's like the first day, sending them off to school, Jackie. There you go, and getting the picture with them beforehand, and that's what we want to see coming out of them. So fingers crossed it continues from them, and we get a real game on our hands.
That's right, though. It's like you've taken them to their first footy game, Tim, and unfortunately, you know, they didn't do too well. They lost out. It was a cold day. It was raining. You've taken them home. You've given them ice cream. You said, don't worry, boys. We're going back tomorrow. You'll have a better day. And they've got back to the pitch, Tim. And I'll tell you what, they're hitting some belters right now. 3 goals have been picked up by Team 1, and it looks like their overarching goal is to win this map and teach Liquid a lesson, that they're not easy to push around, that they're not a team that's just going to back down and give up. Bodega said they don't care who's in front of them. They want to win it. And right now they're proving it. They're backing up those words, but they need to back them up for the next 60 seconds. As the plays are coming in from Team Liquid, we'll see how this round will go. It is still a full 5v5 at this point, as there's been no bloodshed here into the 5th. But who's going to change that, Tim?
Bodega's like that angry parent on the sidelines at the minute, just kicking every ball. Jackie's going to be absolutely screaming them on, willing them forward, just trying to get them back into this one. Now then, Ness comes around the corner, manages to hit falls on the prone, but Raps, he did pick up PSK along the way, so we find ourselves 4-4 as 1 kill goes in either direction. Ness absolutely exploded by Reed up there, hits him with the vertical nitro and takes the Zafir out of the round. And once again, it's Team 1 finding themselves at a man advantage. Moringa, he looks at getting aggressive here and just pushing directly into sight. Reduct, he's showing us the form that he has over the last couple of days, gets himself another. Sexy Cake and Moringa doing work inside of sight, but Lukid's able to trade the kill to Sexy Cake, and it leaves Moringa all alone, 1 versus 2. He sees one cool lad, can't shut him down. 3 on the round for Reduct. And that is another round on the board for Team 1. They are fighting back. Do you think they fancy a 7-1 in return, Jackie?
Oh, imagine the team, man. If they bring this one back to reverse sweep them in that fashion, straight off the back of being 7-1, you get one of your own. That's a hell of a message to send. And, I mean, it seems like it's the way it's heading. But, of course, there is still a couple rounds left to go. It's not over yet, so we'll see how the story develops. Into the previous round, though, we can have a little bit of a look back at some of the highlights. We caught some replays from that one because there were some really tasty frags coming in, Tim. Either side are hitting their shots at the minute. I think that's why it's so exciting to see it going this way, because obviously Liquid, first map, they looked really decisive. Palu was popping off, Ness was coming in, Sexy Cake was trying to steal away the title of eating nitro for breakfast from Julio, whereas here into Coast, we're seeing more of a step up from Team 1. Team Liquid is still playing well, but Team 1 are now matching that.
Heading into round 6 then, it will be another defense of Kitchen. It's actually the only site that we've seen Team Liquid win so far on the attack. It was where they picked up that solitary single 1 that you see up on the scoreboard. And to be fair, it was a little bit of a pocket strat, a little bit of a rush that got it for them, Jackie. Moringa just bursting in through the service entrance whilst a lot of noise was made elsewhere. Managed to get that diffuser down and it really put Team 1 on the back foot. But when we saw it played out in a more sort of normal fashion, a bit of a slow go around with Team Liquid trying to take control over the top floor. It didn't play out as well for them, and what do they need to do different here? How can they turn this into a win where it was a loss last time? And the big factor that really seemed to hurt them was Lukid. They didn't manage to shut him down. He was upstairs on the Mozzie, got a kill onto Nesk, and was just able to continually hassle them on the flanks, and it forced them just down to a default brute force push into service entrance to try and get the diffuser down, and it didn't really work out for them. Now we've got Reduct, he's been super aggressive, but there's been a Z ping. Palu comes in, and it is as easy as 1, 2, 3, just follows in the ping and pre-fires the corner and removes Reduct from the round. Now then for Leapox, he's going to shut down PSK, whose torrid time continues here on Coastline. Not getting better for the Nomad at this point in time. 4-4 squared away and under 50 seconds gone. This one is becoming explosive.
It is. The quickest bloodshed we've seen, leaving us down with just 8 players alive here in the server for the next 2 minutes of round 6. And this story could go many different ways. Team Liquid, though, it's up to them to get themselves back in it. Of course, it's going to be a little bit harder here in the late round. There is a bit of damage done to the Vigil for Leapox, though, so he's soft in the middle. It'll be easier if they can at least hit a couple of shots on him and put him to bed. Shots are being hit, though, but they're all favouring Team 1. As Rap swings out onto Parlin, you've taken down the big man, the huge performer, and sent a message with that kill, Tim, as now there's only a triple threat left for Liquid, and time is starting to burn down. Where are the trades coming from? If there even will be any. There will be. As Mozzie's murdered on the stairs, he'll be left sleeping as Ness kills him, but he took a lot of damage, meaning it's an easy trade frag back in favour of Team 1, and all they've got to do now is coast it out, play for trades, and this is your round.
Sexy Cake still working at those vertical angles on the Ash, but really isn't any sort of lines of sight been opened up into the kitchen area. He's got 2 breaching charges left, so it would be a possibility, but with 55 seconds, they're going to just try and brute force their way into sight once again. Shut down at the main reception. Moringa it will be to trade onto for Leapox as he downs Sexy Cake, but going to be able to collect him. Needs to be careful as Foles is looking. He's just out of the line of sight there, so gets away with it. But we now have Moringa and Sexy Cake both on super low health, and they're up against Raps and Foles, who they've got a few more hit points to play with, and they can just hold themselves in sight. The time is ticking down, and that is going to play into the favour. It is always the 6th man for the defensive team, because the onus is on the attackers to make something happen. The Toxic Babe utility just coming out and shutting down that bathroom entrance, and Raps, he's going to look as the soft wall gets breached. He's just going to hold down this angle from behind the bomb. Now he knows exactly where it's coming, finds himself one. Does he get the second onto Sexy Cake? No, Foles manages to just get the shot over his shoulder, shut down the man, close out the round. Team 1 go 5-1 on the half.
Cleaning up. Mop and bucket out in full force as they're starting to mop this one up. A dominant half. Fantastic stuff there from Team 1. Worlds apart from Clubhouse, it does go 5-1. Liquid now on their defense, Tim. Surely you've got to be thinking that this is a map that goes the way of Team 1. We know they're strong on attack, specifically here on Clubhouse, on Coastline rather. This game could be over very soon. We do have the replay from that previous round as well that we can take a glimpse at to keep you in the moment before we have a bit of downtime before the next. A lot of crazy trade kills. The first 2 frags were established really early on into that one as well, which I think is why it was so explosive.
Yeah, we were talking about 40 seconds in. As you say, Palu, he got the yellow ping, he got the Z ping in on Reduct and was able to just step in. He's always going to win that gunfight, ultimately. I think he went in just dropping to sort of a little crouch position as well, just to keep himself unpredictable. Pre-fired, nice and easy, but then traded straight out with the aggression from the Vigil out onto the Nomad of PSK. And as I say, PSK, he's really struggling here. 0-6 so far. The only person now on 0 kills, and it would be a big, big boost for Team Liquid if somehow they could get him into the game here and start to get him firing now. He's going to be bringing along the smoke, so that's going to put him on a little bit more of a support role, which is not not necessarily what he's familiar with. As I say, he's been playing a little bit of flex. He's been certainly getting the frags through the regular season, but he hasn't necessarily been performing in quite the same way today. So not the end of the world. Just revert back, get him on the smoke, and find a way for him to be able to contribute into these rounds. I mean, if we look through the regular season, Jackie, 131 kills for PSK during stage 2, plus 17 overall, 1.15 KD. So he was very, very solid, and this isn't really indicative of that.
No, it's not. It's not at all. And compared to yesterday as well, where we were shouting his name an awful lot, it does go to show the difference that has on the overall team. It's very interesting how this series could potentially shape up if that keeps up. Well, as well, with Team 1 actually starting to come out of their shell and playing really well. They are on attack now, though, Tim, so it might be a bit harder for them. Historically, you would have thought this would probably be a blessing, though, with how many rounds they were able to pick up on their defense. It's quite unheard of, so all eyes could be on them to come out with a clean 6th round if they play confidently here into the 7th. Early on, just droning out, not getting overly crazy with the way they're playing it. They are just going for info, not running any risks of going in, face-checking an angle, and being left 4v5 because of it.
That's it. Team 1, they need to just sort of buck that trend. And, I know what you're thinking. You're looking at it and you're thinking, but Ace, generally, coastline can be attacker favoured. If any of the maps are, generally the attackers have a good time. And I would agree with you. But as I say, looking over, we've got a decent amount of information there. 5 performances from Team 1 previously. And on the attack, their best attacking win rate on any site is 50%, and that is Blue Bar and Sunrise. Other than that, we are generally looking at less than 40% win rate on the attack. So it's certainly not unusual for them to come away with a 2-4 half, but that's going to be all that they need. It will bring it close. It will make it a 7-5. Now, that is a great opener from Raps, just dumping in the nade off the door frame, and then as Palu has to move, he shuts the man down, and that's an absolute wonderful opening kill.
It's a tasty one. That's a pleasant memory that they'll be looking back on, but can they make this round a mere memory for Team Liquid? Or is there still time for them to affect the outcome? 40 seconds remain for Team 1's first attack. You do have an opening pick, which is brilliant. It means it's far easier when they then push in through the front gate and try and shut this one down. But the diffuser does have to go down. It's in the back pocket of Philippox at the minute on Thatcher the Smasher. Let's see if he can smash some faces here in the next 20 seconds, Tim, as the drones will be relaying the info back over. Sexy pushes in, plays on the close, tight angle. If they don't spot him, he could do an awful lot of damage with this Alder. They peek into him, but they're going in one by one. They funneled in. It looked like they were going to be giving him freebies, but they do not. It goes down to a 2v2. Scratch that, 2-on-1. It's all on Falls, armed with a pistol, as he'll strike onto the other player, shutting down PSK and smoking the smoke. No time, though, to advance round Cool Vibes and get the follow-up frag onto the player tucked in behind Bar Tim, so they will hold on. They will get another round, barely, by the skin of their teeth.
Very close there as Falls managed to shut down PSK in behind the shield. And again, a little bit uncharacteristic from PSK, Jackie. I'm not sure exactly what he was trying to check out there, but he sort of came well out of cover, just showed his back off, never really made a challenge onto the last man. And Neski had the big brain play. He kept himself downstairs and out of the way, knowing that the time was ticking down, and just took full advantage of that clock. As I said, always playing out in the favour of the defenders. The attackers have to make something happen within those 3 minutes, and Team 1 were unable to do that. And you look at this and immediately start thinking, are we going to see that same process for Team 1 where they struggle to secure attacking rounds on coastline? I think they can get this over the line, and I think it will be with a better margin than 7-5. I'm not sure we're going to see all 12 rounds here, but it is a good start defensively for Liquid. They've still got a bit of a mountain to climb. The next 2 rounds particularly important for me. If they can get these on the board, have a complete defensive rotation of 3 successful rounds, you start getting to a point where they're within touching distance and you think, this is definitely doable for them, and it will start to eat away at Team 1. So for me, Team 1 on the attack, they need a round on the board as quickly as possible. They want to guarantee that overtime and just settle the nerves, settle the confidence down a little bit, just, build into it, so they'll know that they haven't always been the most successful on attack, and you don't want that to start eating away at them.
even if they just get that overtime guarantee, it might make it a bit easier for them, right? Like, even if you're not chaining both rounds together and shutting it down for a 7-2, just get one on the board. Make it 6-2. Show that you are definitely going to be able to push them to the wire and close it down. Because that was a really close first attempt as well. Going down to a 1v1 that's won out in the end by the fact that time is the real commodity you've got to look at. There's a lot of different outcomes. This could be an outcome in which Moringa gets a nice early entry, though, but they drone in and he has to back off. Unsuccessful in his attempts, but his teammates will provide an outcome that's favourable. Shuts down Falls, wraps with a trade back onto Moringa, and we're left with a 4v4 in mere seconds. This is a much quicker pace being taken to the game by Team 1, Tim, and that could work out incredibly for them if they keep it up. Drones are being spotted, though, in every single hole, so there's not much from the info game, and they do rotate back around, heading up to the roof, linking up Wolfpack, and seeing where they want to take this, as they don't have to rush it. You've still got 2 minutes.
Team 1 certainly getting aggressive on the attack, and it can be a good strategy to use against Team Liquid. We know that they're a side that like to play slowly, methodically, and coming in there and just maybe forcing them out of their comfort zone, just, you know, making them play quickly can sometimes have a great effect. But right now, Team Liquid, they seem to be matching up to it. They've lost Moringa, but they've managed to trade it out and get one onto Falls as well, and they've squared it away. They're now at the halfway stage, and that sort of momentum into the round has been lost a little bit for Team 1. Sexy Cake's just holding an angle here. He knows there's a man. He's going to get the kill. Can he get away from the nade? Yes, he can. Great play from Sexy Cake. Fancy footwork there. Looks like a butterfly, but the sting was certainly there, Jackie.
Oh, this could potentially be a very stinging round for Team 1 if they let it slip through their fingertips, Tim, as they're at a disadvantage now. 2-3. A good position to be in for Liquid, though. They've just got to play smart. You don't really need to force the issue at all here. Just turtle up, play for trades, hold your crossfires, watch those angles, and lay down the law when they attempt to push their way in and stake a claim on your territory. Sexy Cake sets up with the vertical angles as well. PSK still has 2 smoke canisters remaining, so utility is great. At this point, they really shouldn't be paranoid at all. Walls being teared down, though, as Lukid and Reduck set their focus towards the site, trying to knife their way through the barbed wire as well so they can get in a little bit easier. Reduck cracks open the diffuser and begins to plant it. Lukid taking a ton of damage from the smoke and from the bullets that are being fired in his general vicinity. And this is not going to be a pretty round for Team 1, Tim, as Liquid hold on, clutch it out, and pick up another one. The comeback is starting to happen.
It is. It's definitely on, but this is the round now. This is the round for me, Jackie. This is where Team 1 have an opportunity. They're going to Blue Bar. It is their best attacking side. Still only a 50% win rate, so don't get me wrong, I'm not painting a perfect picture for them, but they have shown some capability on getting the wins here in Blue Bar and Sunrise. So this is their opportunity. If Liquid are able to lock this down, then you start looking at the situation. You think, well, Liquid are going to rinse and repeat. They're going back to Hooker, and then they're going to rotate through Kitchen, Blue Bar again. And you start seeing a pathway then at 5-4 where Liquid could come back and just take this with a complete reverse sweep. We don't want to see that happen, of course. Team 1 have been really competitive, and they don't deserve to lose in that fashion. But right now, Liquid are starting to look like that unstoppable machine again on the defense. And as I said, for me particularly, this right now is the most important round on Coastline.
The side's an awful lot. Team 1, you pick it up, you get OT. You've got that in your back pocket to always hold on to, always have a look at, keep the momentum going. If they concede it, of course, Liquid are very close to equalizing. And here's the scary factor. If they bring this back to a 5-5 split on Coastline, Tim, then all they need to do is win 2 rounds to win the major. That's 3 maps, 3-0, nothing for Team 1. You leave the tournament in 2nd place, and Liquid will be crowned the champions, the new champions of Brazil. As NIP, they already left the tournament yesterday, so a new king must be crowned here. And at the minute, it looks like they're starting to show, Tim, that they can reign, and they want to lord that over Team 1. But they still need to get the next 2 rounds. We'll find out if they can at least build back up to that here in the 9th, as there's 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. Team 1 played very aggressive into the previous round. It worked well at the start. It didn't do too much for them the longer it went on. It could be a great way for Luki to get an entry on the act, though. He sprints in, but he's not ready. Pants around his ankles. He's left lifeless on the ground as Palu, the stairway guardian, will hold that angle and put them at a disadvantage already.
Team One just not thorough enough there, Jackie. Coming in, it's all well and good. Reduct looking to hold an angle onto the main stairs now, but the damage has been done. That is closing the stable door once the horse has bolted, and it's gone, Jackie. It's away. There's no chasing that sucker down at this point because Luke had just went in. He gave it a cursory glance over to that side, but then was moving in, looking at main reception. Obviously, drone work hadn't been completed. And Palu, freest kill of his day, he's going to just take that one all day long. Reduct, he takes some damage along the way there as well. And right now it's 5 versus 3.5, and it's not looking great for Team 1 as Sexy Cake is able to shut down Neskin on the party, and this is starting to look terrifying right now. Team Liquid, they are starting to roll like thunder into this fixture, and they are starting to really find some power on Coastline.
But it seems like the Thunder Buddies of Raps and Philippox are still alive, and they're clapping back, dealing damage. But unfortunately, Philippox has dealt death. He'll be left in a pine box, and it all comes down to one man, the cowboy builder of Sledge, left with a very hard task ahead of him. 60 seconds to either pick up 3 frags or get the diffuser down and be able to defend it. Sprints his way back through, trampling over the corpse of his fallen brethren and peeking out, scoped in on the angle. He knows where they are, but does he hit his shots? Takes down the first, pre-fires onto the second. Nade's gonna roll in as well to bait him out of position, but he's got to be paranoid about the right, Tim. Whoa, he nearly cleans up. There was a possibility it could have been the hat trick to clutch the round, but no. Palu, of course, the lesion leaves him with lacerations, and Liquid get another round.
Paolo and Nesh just putting the man there, Raps. It's just an impossible situation coming in. One to the left, one to the right. The best you can do is hope to take one with you, and that was exactly what he achieved. But the round goes on the board for Team Liquid. A defensive sweep to begin with. 3 rounds, meaning that they can just head back through the same sites. We are playing on a 2-round rotation for anybody sort of newer to Siege as an esport. Basically means once a team win on a site defensively, they have to play 2 rounds elsewhere. Win or lose, doesn't matter. They have to play 2 elsewhere before they can go back. So once you've had 3 successful defensive sites, you can basically move back to the first one and just cycle through them again. And right now, Team Liquid, they're starting to, I'm going to say cycle through Team 1, but they're not. They're going through them for a shortcut right now.
We can't go over it, Tim. We can't go round it. We're going to have to go through it, and they are going through it with some big MPH. They're trucking their way back into this game and looking luscious with the way they're playing it. So many close rounds, though. I know the scoreline's close, but what's actually happened inside of these previous 9 rounds has been even closer. The amount of them that have been decided off the back of 1vx clutches, where time's been a ginormous factor, is ridiculous. It's unprecedented, really. And it's given us a great game here on Coastline. A great game that is still going. Is it going to be going the way of Team 1, though? If they get one more round, they finally get themselves that guaranteed OT. If they fail to do so and let this slip in the manner they have done for the previous couple, Liquid will equalize the score and we'll be back to a stalemate. A 5-on-5 level playing field, which is going to be terrifying for Team 1. They have to do something crazy here into this attacking round, Tim. And when I mean crazy, I'm not talking about running in like we saw Luke into the prior and giving away an easy entry frag. They need to rein that in a little bit now.
It's just so bizarre coming off the defensive half. They were great. They were really solid. And then just coming in like that on the entry, and you can see why the attack of Coastline is not always the best for them. Because if you're going to run into areas like main reception without thoroughly droning it and without that information to hand, then you're going to suffer. And that's exactly what Team Liquid did to them. But that's all done and gone. Round 10 we are in. Team Liquid looking to guarantee us 12 rounds of what has been a bit of an epic thriller here on Coastline so far. We've had twists, turns, we've had thrills and spills, and there's still plenty more to come. Team Liquid looking to give us every ounce of it that they can. If they can secure this round here, defending Hooker and Billiards, it will guarantee us at least the 12 regulation rounds and potentially even overtime, which is a mouth-watering prospect right now. And Lukid, he's got himself established up there, 90 corridor, just at the top of the main stairs. Don't think they're aware that they're just on opposite sides of the wall to each other. Neskin side of theatre. No information to suggest that the Ash is there. He's just going to play his life for the time being. Lukid holding down for any potential rotate coming through luggage, but not too much sort of aggression or progress coming in from Team 1 here.
Ooh. Oh, talking of progress, couple of bullets finding their way to the feet of Lukid. They'll tag him up, but Philippox comes off far worse for wear. That lion has been maimed, and oh no, Lukid, he's been blown away as the Nitro will land behind him, and it's all erupted into carnage now, Tim. An advantage for Liquid with 55 seconds left. Raps, Falls, and Philippox have to come together as a triple threat to clutch this one out. They are in a rough spot. Good use of utility, but it's not going to do enough. The sledgehammer not connecting on the hatch as well. He's got to climb on the furniture, dirty feet on the sofa, as they're showing no respect. And that's what they need to do into the next 30. Show no respect to Liquid, because they're cutting their way through them, Tim. It's down to Raps and Falls. 2 players remain for Team 1, as Falls will skulk his way in. Gets into the site, the only one alive, and he's not breathing anymore, as he's punished by Nesk on the quick peek. Liquid, they've brought it back. They've grinded their way in through a grueling second half to equalize the scoreline, 5 rounds to 5 rounds.
All bets are off right now, Jackie. It seemed like it was such a strong map for Team 1 after that first half 5-1. I did shine a spotlight on those attacking weaknesses that we've seen before on Coastline, and Team Liquid, they are exploiting those cracks right now, busting Team 1 wide open as they draw themselves back level with 4 consecutive defensive rounds, and we find ourselves guaranteed 12 rounds here, and even with the prospect of potential overtime looming. But before any of that happens, Team 1, they need to find at least one, Jackie. They need to find at least one round. This is for their very lives inside of the major now. This is to give them any opportunity to crown 2020 off with some glory. They have to find this round to do it without overtime.
What a position that is. What a crazy comeback game this has been for Team 1 that might not even be remembered, Tim. This might never be looked at again, because if the outcome is that Team Liquid win the next 2 and shut it down, then all that people will remember about this major is the fact that Liquid 3-0'd them, not the Battle of Coastline, not the blood, sweat and tears that they put in to the past 10 rounds here in Ibiza. That will be forgotten, taken by the sands of time. And what a tragedy that would be for Team 1 if after all this hard work, they get nothing. They have to show up now. You've got to turn it on, switch up the tempo, absolutely give it, and do something crazy to keep Liquid guessing, because they're putting them through the blender, Tim. And what worries me is Liquid, if they're feeling themselves coming into this round, they might get a little bit more risky. We're already seeing with some of the roam setups they've got that they're looking to again find the early entry frag, something that has been a matter of life and death in a lot of these rounds.
Momentum's a huge problem for Team 1 right now. As you say, coming in here, Team Liquid, they're in the ascendancy, Jackie, and they're in a position of confidence where they can start just swinging onto Team 1 a little bit, taking those fights on, and that's exactly how we saw them come out and win Clubhouse. It was all in the gunfights. They just had the man advantage so often, and right now, Team 1, they're just looking like they've slipped back into that little bit of fear to take on Team Liquid head-to-head, and they need to give themselves every opportunity to come out of that with an advantage. They need to be drawn in. They need to be ticking those basic boxes and making sure that they're not giving Team Liquid those easy, cheap frags that they've had over the last couple of rounds, like Lukid into main lobby as an example. They can't give those away. And right now, Team 1, they're setting themselves up well. They're getting rid of that utility on the top floor. They're air jabbing off the stairs to prevent any later rotation if they do manage to clear this top floor roam from Team Liquid. And they're really trying to give themselves an opportunity for some vertical pressure to come into sight.
What terrifies me, Tim, if we remember yesterday when we interviewed Mav, he said it all changed when he grabbed onto that Pikachu that was sat on the desk and the mascot reinvigorated them and made them go on to get a decisive victory. Maybe he's picked that bad boy up and that electric mouse has got the team popping off, because they're looking like lightning gods at the minute. They're coming in quick and clean, and all they've got to do is hold on for the next 60 seconds to stun Team Liquid. with a very electrifying round. 50 seconds remain. Peek's going out. Raps peeking down through the top hatch, but he's not finding anything for it. Palu as well, lurking back round by the front desk on stairs. He could come in for a backstab here if he plays his cards right, if he wants to go for something crazy. They have all 10 players alive, Tim. In the final 30, this is going to erupt like a volcano.
There's going to be an absolute bloodbath to crown this round off. Now, the Vulcan shield just being destroyed there, so that's going to leave that fire to burn out. It will disappear now. Reduct opens things up onto Moringa. Sexy Kick with the direct trade. 15 seconds left to go, and Team One, they've left this late, but they managed to get a couple of frags, and they move in. 3 versus 1 now. Felipox starts to get the diffuser down. It's all up to Sexy Kick. Can he do it? He hits shots onto one, but shut down by Raps through the soft wall, and that's going to be Team One guaranteeing themselves overtime and giving themselves the opportunity to limp over the line on coastline and to put a map in the books.
After so many rounds that were just stolen from them, they finally pick one up, and it couldn't have come at a better time. They get to OT first. They guarantee a 6, which means they can still win. They can still win in regulation, Tim. They don't have to go to OT if they can keep themselves afloat and pick this next round up, end it here, win on coastline. It's been a well-fought fight. And just shut it down as a 7-5. Don't give Liquid the opportunity to still 3-0 you. Don't give Liquid anything. In terms of what Liquid are doing, though, Tim, I thought we were going to see the clash coming out for Sexy, but no, he won't be sticking to the shield this time, as he will move again back onto the mute. So just another 6 pick to try and throw suspicion in the air and keep them guessing into what could very well be the last round we see here on Coast.
Blue Bar and Sunrise it will be as we head into round number 12 then. Team Liquid, they have to get this one on the board if they want to close things out in 3, and it would certainly send a message. It was what NIP managed to achieve back in the August Major. They did not give up a single map to FaZe, and Team Liquid, they won't want to give anything up to Team One here either. They'll be looking to close it down. They have no option now but to go through the best of 3 overtime if they are going to achieve that. But they can't be looking too far ahead. They can't be looking beyond this very round because they need a successful defense of Blue Bar and Sunrise. So we're going to see some top floor pressure more than likely from Liquid again. Maybe not quite as much as we saw come out of them for the kitchen hold. But they do have Palu upstairs on the Legion, and he will no doubt try to take a couple of kills before dropping back to site later in the round. Nesk, he's going to be holding down Office. They don't want to give up too much access to that side of the site either. And this was where we saw the final battle come down last time, and it was very hard fought. If you remember, it was a 1v2 challenge that almost went against Team Liquid.
Will it go against them this time around? So much riding on this, Tim. It's either OT or a victory. That's what Team One have to decide here in the next 2 minutes and 14 seconds. For now, though, Team Liquid just holding. They haven't gone for any crazy runouts early on. They're not playing on close angles either to hold for the first entry frag. They're playing pretty much grouped up towards site with a little bit of own game developing from Palu. He'll risk it for a biscuit early on as he peeks out with the Legion, looking for someone lurking close by. Lukid's already in the compound, taking down the pre-placed cameras as he will set himself a task to try and find an entry frag here on the Ash and raise the defense of Liquid. He's not gotten anything yet. They don't have to rush things. There's still 1 minute and 40 seconds. But what's his play going to be? Rest of the team pushing up as well so they can link up and they can split and pick this one. They're getting a lot of info from the drones as well.
He's just going to maintain his position inside there, even though he knows he's been spotted out by a drone just in behind the bar. He's going to adjust slightly, so he's not exactly on any sort of direct ping or information. He's just going to try to continue challenging, keep himself alive with Palu, and 1 minute 10 left to go. Things need to start happening here. Palu, he's back down in the office. He's just backing up Nesk. They don't want to give up any sort of control of the south side of the map, and it looks like there is a push potentially going to come in through security and Sunroom as well. Now, we are looking at angles being held down by Palu. First kill comes in, and it is going to be Palu going by the wayside. Team One really start to mount some pressure here.
Oh, Nesk Pressure relieved as he's going to have himself blown to bits, Tim. 35 seconds left and it's a 2v4. Sexy, if he could pull off something crazy off the back of this hurty-verty angle and hit himself a shot to save the day, then what a play it would be. But unfortunately for him, peeks out by the pool table and he's been snookered by Redux. 20 seconds left. PSK swings in to try and save the day as he'll slay from far away, but bullets are hitting him. He hits the deck. Team 1 pick it up. They clutch it. They don't go to OT. They don't let it slip through the cracks. They hold on and they do take it to another map as they get their first win here in the final.
Team 1 are back in the game, Jackie. They've managed to light up one of those yellow bars at the top of the screen. They are now 2-1 behind, but they are fighting. They've got coastline over the line, but map number 3 is beckoning. They are heading into Oregon, and I've got a feeling we're going to have an absolute brawl on our hands.
Oregon is going to be incredible. It's a map that both of these teams have been comfortable on. Both of these teams have had upset wins. They've had rough losses and they've had some incredible games against one another, even during regulation. So the fact we get that as the next map, Tim, off the back of what looks to be more like the Team 1 we expected, it couldn't have come at a better time.
Absolutely not. This is turning out to be a really entertaining major final, and we've got the prospect of going all the way to the 5th map, Jackie. Let's not forget that. If Team 1 can take Oregon away from Liquid, then it's anybody's in that final best of 1.
Well, there's only one thing left to do. All the Team 1 fans out there start chanting, start saying it, start going reverse sweep, reverse sweep, reverse sweep, because it could be a possibility. If Team 1 want to win the major, that's what they've got to do. Oregon will be coming up next when we head back in after the break, so keep it locked and keep that chant going.
Sabiendo que existen miles así de hermosas y así de nenas. Quieres que por un ratico me den castigo, me den condena. No lo estás pensando bien.
Chica me tienes de virolao, mirando como un bobo lao. Si te sigo el juego estoy fretado y todos mis días están contados. Si se enoja, tengo lo que a ella se le antoja, pero nada de eso, le doy tarjeta roja. Fue una bonita paradoja hasta que se nos volteó la hoja. Mami, eres pura adrenalina. La candela en el barrio más que gasolina. Pero mami, veo como a ti te mira.
Nice shot for me! Perfect!
La candela en el barrio más que gasolina. Pero mami, veo como a ti te miran. Por eso yo me quedo quieto y tú bien tranquila. Yo no quiero nada de problema. Pa' tú tienes novio, no voy a tocar el tema. Tú estás bueno, pero tú ya mami queman. Por eso ya me fui en la Porsche
Si
Panamera.
quieres arena, sé que estás muy buena y todo, pero el que juega con fuego se quema. Sabiendo que existen miles así de hermosas y así de nenas. Quieres que por un ratico me den castigo, me den condena. No lo estás pensando bien. A ese barco no me monto, de eso estoy certero. Nací pa' cantante, no fue por diosero. No me como restos de la otra gente. Esa muchacha tiene que tener la mente, pero el mate. Ya quieres de eso con solo abrazarme. Que Dios cuide al que quiera enamorarte. Aunque es algo que la mayoría comparte. Yo me retiro.
pistolero, me llaman bandolero, pero la verdad es que soy un marinero. Navego la vía sin problemas, soy sincero. Pana, ya tú sabes que comencé de cero. Me baño en refresco y solo porque puedo. Hago lo que quiero debajo de mi techo. Me baño en refresco y solo porque puedo. Mami, ya tú sabes, este papi está bien hecho.
Si quieres ganar, sé que estás muy buena y todo, pero el que juega con fuego se quema. Sabiendo que existen miles así de hermosas y así de buenas. Quieres que por un ratico me den castigo, me den condena. No lo estás pensando bien.
Ya tú sabes, man, esto es la promesa, Exacto. Porque sabes cómo, baby. Porque sabes cómo, Denny. Porque sabes cómo, Denny. Porque sabes cómo, Denny.
Representando.
Ella lo sabe, Luné. Luné.
Va cogiendo el filé, Le gusta la verde, le gusta entonar. Aquí estamos chile, Party, 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 nos ponemos farria. Nos encanta el perreo, Habla mucho, mucho, pero ¿dónde están los haters, baby? Que no los veo. Los dos en la pista, esto se puso feo. Cha. Duro, 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 pam, pam. Ejo, le gusta lo malo, lo underground. Duro, 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 pam, pam. Suri no queda el que sea en primer round. Duro, 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 pam, pam. Ejo, le gusta lo malo, lo underground. Duro, 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 pam, pam. Siempre estamos a la altura, pero perreamos bien down.
Vamos a pecar con perreo, baby. Te veo con un flow criminal. Aquí en el party se siente como el ambiente nos lleva a otro lugar. Con perreo sin dona, todos estamos heavy, también en la zona. Solo cuando pone freaky, 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 freaky dona. Canta como loca porque se emociona.
Nena, seguro que todo.
Well, you join us as we get into a very exciting part of the major. We're in the best of 5 grand final, Tim, but it's not going to be a 3-0. It's not Liquid walking away doing what Nip did in August. Instead, we're getting a big old final on our hands. It's gone 2-1, Tim.
Oh, it's lip smacking at this point, Jackie. This is the tasty morsel that we were hoping for, and it really is developing a bit of spice as we go on now. It's been marinating over the last couple of days, and here we are. If Team 1 take this on Oregon, then what a showdown we're going to have in that final map of Consulate.
Oh, mate, if this was supposed to be a bit of spice thrown in, that being Oregon, unfortunately what's happened is the lid's come off the paprika and you've dumped the entire thing in, Tim. Because Oregon's going to be crazy, mate. You think of how close and how ridiculous the games were when these two faced up during regular season, right? The fact it's now in bracket, in a major, in the final of the major, this has got to live up to our expectations and then some, surely.
You just know that Team 1, they're like the equivalent. They're in the kitchen, Jackie. They've got the food going. The lid's come off the chili powder. In it goes. They know that the Scoville scale's going through the roof at this point, but they've got a party going on. They've got a group of people in the living room, so they're just going to mix it in, and they're going to see what they can do with it, and they're just going to bring as much fire and spice as they can, and just hope for the best at that point.
You got to take a big old scoop of that chili and get it down, yeah. No matter if it makes you cry or wince, get it down because it's going to be well worth it once you taste the mince meat. And there is going to be some meat flying when we get into the game, Tim. A lot of giblets all over the place, as we've already seen Liquid playing some of the best Siege they have done in quite some time. But finally, Team 1 have woken up as well. They were hitting their shots. They were looking a lot more confident. And confidence is what they lacked on Clubhouse. They had none of it. They played slow. They played sluggish, so defensive, and they got trampled. It was completely different on the second map. Coastline, they looked way more like themselves and put up a great fight, and that means they've set themselves up for success now going into Oregon, where hopefully we have the best of both worlds, both teams performing at 100%, and we just get a hell of a game.
Now what they need to find, Jackie, is consistency. We saw it on coastline through the defensive half. Team One were absolutely solid, as you say, quite happy to swing onto players, take the challenges, and they were doing great. But they need to iron out those mistakes they had on the attack, like Lukid going in without proper information. Need to get rid of that and just get back to that consistent goodness.
They've got to get rid of that, but we've got to get into this, Tim, as it's time for the map. We are ready for Oregon, and we are heading in. Here we go. Now, the storyline at this point, of course, still points to Liquid being able to win the series if they take Oregon. But we could see an outcome where this goes 2 maps to 2 maps, and we move on to the decider if Oregon is picked up by Team One. So, an awful lot riding on this one.
Team One coming in there with an interesting first ban. They're going to take Lion out of things. Now, we know that Lion is still reasonably powerful, but not overly well picked. So I'm sure there's a bit of information behind that one. I'm sure it's maybe something Bodega's picked up on when he's been studying those VODs and just thinks that there's an advantage to be found taking him away from Team Liquid. But Thatcher and Goyo will come in as the 2 bans for Team Liquid. Goyo being an interesting one. They usually go for Clash as a defender quite often here, but this time they're going to pick up Goyo and just remove those Volcan shields. Mirror will be the final ban, so nothing too out of the ordinary there.
No, fairly standard. First time we're not seeing Glaz being removed as well, of course, as he was thrown to the wayside by, well, every game we'd seen so far at this point. They really didn't want Glaz being played. It's been a bit of a staple there for Team One, as they don't like the idea of his newly buffed self coming back into the action and running amok with that scope. But we'll forget about that, as the scope of this game is the fact that we've got all 10 players in. We're ready to kick it off. Liquid will be on attack to begin, with Team One over on defense. There is a 6 pick being made, and Raps looks to move off Valkyrie and onto Warden.
Interesting choice. Obviously, Warden able to see through smoke. He has some special glasses that just allows him to either remove the effects of a flashbang or alternatively he can see through smoke, but obviously not when he's moving. So it does just limit him a little bit in that sense. Now, there is, the argument there that he's obviously bringing some reasonable utility along with him as well, so it could be down to that. We'll see just exactly how. Let's keep an eye on Raps. We'll see exactly what use Warden gets put to, where he is used, potentially. I don't know if there's a bit of an element there of, still that fear of Glaz, maybe. I know they obviously see the operator lineup beforehand, but there's the potential for the 6th pick. I don't know if it's something that Team One are thinking that they might need to challenge onto through smoke, so they're just sort of giving themselves that opportunity to do so. We'll see. We'll see as it pans out. We'll see exactly where Raps is holding down, and that'll give us a better gauge on exactly what the thought process is there.
We'll also see who's going to get bullets through where their thoughts get processed here into the opening round as time starts to tick. Of course, Liquid back on the attack. Immediately, my eyes are glancing over to the 2 big performers, the Mastiff dogs that are on a leash that has a lot of rain, Tim. That's Palu and Nesk. They were so good for the entry, specifically on the first map of Club as well. Palu was running away with the whole game. He came out like a train and just kept hitting them time after time. Nesk's on Ash as well, so that's the free speed, which means he'll get into those fights an awful lot quicker. I'm living for it, and I want to see where that will take us. In terms of Team One's defense, though, nothing really out of the blue. A couple of players on the roam, but they're beginning to back off already. It looked like they were just holding their close angles in case Liquid went for a tempo play off the start of the game, but now they're starting to fall back to site, get those last-minute reinforcements down, and just play for time.
We quite often see Palu try to push the laundry here. Interesting. Generally speaking, Liquid will try to surround their enemies. They'll try to push all 3 directions if possible. So they'll come in from rear stage and bunker. They'll push 1 or 2 down into freezer. And as I say, it's usually Palu will be playing down at the bottom of the laundry stairs as well. And it can create an absolute nightmare for defensive teams because there's just nowhere to go. Everywhere you step, you find yourself in a crossfire. Now, we've got 3 pushing towards freezer for the time being, looking to really put some priority on that area, looking to get it locked down. I don't think we've got attention towards the laundry stairs yet, so it may be something that they choose not to push this time around. There is one at the rear stage as well, so slowly building for Team Liquid here, but with 2 minutes gone, no contact found as of yet, and they need to get moving.
Well, get your sneakers on, get those laces tied up so you don't trip over yourself, and get into the action. So there's 50 seconds left here on the opening round of Oregon. We'll see where this will take us. In terms of the entry frag, who's going to find it? As we've got 10 players alive and kicking at the minute, Tim. Utility being pulled out, but he backs off. Palu, realizing it's not worth the risk, instead repositions to drop that down from above and hopefully destabilize the defense the Team 1 are running. There is no kills. Concussion grenades going in. They'll drop through the hatch and they'll push their way around. Nitro cell chucked out, gets it off, kills the diffuser. That sexy cake fragged out. Nesk follows suit as well, and it's really going wrong. Palu with a disgusting shot from over the top of the shield, but he gets backstabbed by Felipox. One by one, say goodnight to Liquid, as Team 1 will hold on and pick up the opening round.
Good defense from them, and I think what's happened there, Jackie, is, I commented on it coming in. I said what we're likely to see from Team Liquid is a push into Freezer, a push into Pillar, and one man on Laundry Stairs. And look exactly what we got. And the problem is, if I'm picking up on that, you better believe that Team 1 are picking up on that, and they are going to be ready for it. And they certainly looked ready. They were able to rein in those kills as it came down to it. Great round from them defensively. And I think Team Liquid just leaving themselves a little bit predictable there.
Potentially so, Tim. Potentially so. It did seem like they were read somewhat, of course, in the way it was played, and also they just hit their shots. Team 1 were cleaning up. It was a good play from the Nitro. Utility-wise, there wasn't much downtime. In terms of, second-guessing themselves before they made a play, they just went for it wholeheartedly. Like the hatch drop we saw, all of the backstabs, they were really nice. You can see there's a lot of confidence now back for Team 1, which is what they need, especially on Oregon, and especially when you're in your defense, because they need to capitalize off this start. Although it's really not that defender-sided anymore, and teams have fleshed out their attacks, it still helps to get as many rounds as you can from your defense.
Well, the thing is, it's not even really at this stage necessarily down to attack versus defense. What this comes down to is the fact that Team 1 is still on the brink of defeat. If Team Liquid can get themselves far enough ahead, be that on the attack or the defense, it doesn't matter. It'll be a big mental blow to Team 1, because then they know that they're only 1 or 2 rounds away from going out of the major. And much like they did on Coastline, I think they need to come in here strong again, get themselves that 4-2, 5-1 advantage, and then they're able to push forward and get it over the line. It was close run on Coastline, and it won't be any easier here on Oregon. But if they can give themselves every opportunity, get themselves a decent advantage in the first half, I think that is really what the big focus has to be for them.
Oh, there's a lot of potential. There genuinely is. They also have to try and keep both Palu and Nesk in check for me, and Sexy Cake actually on top of that, because Sexy's been having a great day. It was PSK over the past 2, with Sexy showing up in rounds that mattered, but tonight, Tim, it just feels like he's got newfound confidence again, specifically on Clubhouse as well. The fact he got those 3 kills with nades just purely off timing and placement, it's beautiful to see. So as long as you can stop them from barreling out of control, getting impact frag after impact frag that's going to feed them to a point where they're like, okay, I'm just going to peek everything and play like a demigod, then that's probably for the best.
And I think part of the thing for Sexy Kate there is Team Liquid have responded to the fact that he's playing well today and he's hitting his shots, because he's getting more of an opportunity to aggress onto people. We saw it just there. He was one of the first down the hatch, pushing into pillars, getting aggressive, getting aggro, and he's got that diffuser in his hand, and generally speaking, he's holding back a little bit more. That's what we've seen towards the tail end of the stage. So the fact that he's doing well and hitting those shots, absolutely, they're pushing him into the forefront of the attacks. They're getting him into that spearhead and just letting him do what he's doing best.
That's the way you got to play it. That's what you got to do. And it does look like we're getting our players back in the lobby pretty sharpish. We've got all 10 in, so hopefully it shouldn't be too much longer till we can carry on with the major madness we've got here. Surprised it's our first rehost of the day as well, Tim, actually. It's been pretty smooth so far.
Yeah, pretty stable. We've been cruising through. It's, one of those regions we do struggle a little bit sometimes, but no, nice and plain sailing. I think it's probably, I'm not going to, I won't curse it, Jackie, but, I think obviously it's major day, and I think we'll have plain sailing from here, I think.
Hopefully so. We'll keep it going, keep the momentum high, and there's a lot of momentum that goes into a matchup like this. If you didn't catch it over both Stage 1 and Stage 2 of the BR6, Oregon has been a very contested map for these two. We've had some close games, a lot of frightening fights that have gone down in the past, which is why it seems so exciting as a fixture to get, and it's actually pretty cool we even made it here, right? Because a couple of rounds difference, this would have been already over. The major would have been finished by now with Liquid being the champions, Tim.
It certainly looked a possibility on coastline. They really did run it close. But as you say, Oregon and LATAM, there's certainly got history between the two of them over the last couple of stages. Like you say, we've had some of our biggest blowout games. We've seen Liquid and NIP go 6-0 on here, just, fighting tooth and nail. And we've had some big moments. Herds, of course, W7M came in and managed to get 20 kills when he played on Oregon in stage 2. We've had some real moments here, and hopefully we're going to see a few more today.
Yeah, and there's not many moments to waste as we're back in the game. We can carry on with the action now as we return to Oregon and see where this one is going to go. If you're just joining us, you are right on time to enjoy a spectacle as the major is well underway. We're here in the grand final, and already the first round has gone the way of Team 1 on Oregon. It's a do-or-die state of affairs for them, as at the minute, Team Liquid have 2 maps already picked up. Team 1 only have 1.
Going to be heading up to dorms for the second defensive site. No major surprises there. Primary and secondary site, generally laundry and dorms, in whichever order you fancy. And then the tertiary sites will be either kitchen and meeting or kitchen and dining. Now, in LATAM, we've had a bit of a lean towards kitchen and dining up until very recently, where it sort of took a swing back towards meeting. So my guess would be that we will possibly see meeting coming out as that third site. But Team 1, they'll need to get the win here on dorms to begin with, because if not, they will no doubt come back and try this site again. So in terms of attacks here on dorms, you're going to see pressure coming from the top and bottom of your screen as it stands at the moment. So going to try and get established in attic, which is roughly where Reduct is on the Valkyrie. Now, we want to get a player in there to Team Liquid just to try and shut down the angles for the crossfire that would deny the plant in game room where Falls is. Now, if there is a defender still in attic, they can pretty much hold that down. So that's the reason the attackers try to close it out. And at the same time, they'll try and get somebody into master bedroom to open up that closet wall and try and give them access onto the plant spot. So it's basically one big giant pinch, if you look at it like that. They want men on both sides. But one thing they do need to contend with is attic. It can be a difficult area to clear out. And one way that we see that done quite often now is the attackers will get themselves established in master bedroom. They'll push forward into trophy room and they'll try to actually breach the reinforcement that is effectively behind that defender playing in attic. So it's hotly contested usually. There's a lot of bodies, a lot of blood spilt over that area, and we'll see how it pans out here in round number 2.
See how the fight affects things. Early on, bit of fire being done, bullets being laid down as they span back over across the bridge, hoping that maybe one of those stray bullets would land and knock the jaw off of the Maverick of Sexy Cake, but it doesn't connect onto him just yet. They've also gotten the wall down now, and Moringa will commit to throwing in a couple of flashbangs just as Raps gets off the Wamai disc. So actually, it probably works out pretty nicely for him. It means it's not burnt out, so he can buy a little bit more time and waste a bit more utility. Repositions one of them down to the lower levels as well. A lot of pressure being applied, but they rotate off. It was all a bait play, as instead they'll head in through the window, group up with a 3-pronged attack, and then bombard out into Dawn. Redux still on the late round rotation, and his position could be huge. If he has an opportunity to peek out and swiftly come in the back with a blade, Tim, he could shut down a couple of players here if they don't realize where he is.
It's important that they recognise that fact. As you say now, Redux, he's playing up in that small office. He's just going to keep himself in there for as long as possible. Sexy Cake, he's looking to get himself in towards that mass deposit that I spoke about. PSK is there on the ace as well. It's usually the Selma device that will be applied to the wall that Sexy Cake is looking at right there. That's going to open up the pathway into attic. Now, Marlu's getting onto that double window, and this is where Redux could really have a big impact. He's one hit that barricade already, so he's ready to just jump out. Now, it looks like Balu's actually dipped away from that double window. He's just going to try to rain a frag grenade in there, and what a kill it is as he hits him through the kid's window. Luke, say goodnight. He is done in round 2. Cooked to perfection from Palu.
Oh, it's like a hard-boiled egg. He'd got it at just the right time, and the chef's trying to cook up another one. Lands it through the window. It forces Philippox out of safety. He's got to reposition. He tries with one of his own, casts out the nitro to no avail, and then just swings on the window, reveals himself, and dies because of it. And now the round's getting messy, Tim. Frags found left, right, and center. As Sexy Cake dies in front of the Fox, we're left down into a 2v2. 10 seconds left on the clock. PSK and Palu have to grab the defuse diffuser. That's step 1 complete. Now they've got to open it and commit to a plant without any time to come off it. He has just gone on. Last possible second. Grace period given, but a backstab's developing. Palu with 1 kill. Sideline swipe! He hits the shot onto PSK. That's all he had to do to save the round, and he's gone and done it.
Maybe not from the angle we expected, but Reduct was decisive in that round. Rotated right underneath the map across that mid-floor to pop up on Armory stairs and make a serious nuisance of himself. He picked himself up a couple of slugs as he was passing the Armory Jackie, and he just moved through and absolutely deleted a couple of members of Team Liquid, and that really did throw the momentum of that round. Liquid were all over it up to that point, and it just shows what can happen when you allow operators to wriggle out of your control. On the attack there, they did not locate Reduct. They did nothing to prevent the flank, and he was able to play freely. And without them knowing where he was a menace to them. And that just goes to show on the attack particularly, you always need to make sure that everyone is present and accounted for.
Oh, man. It's like when you're in school, Tim, and the teacher comes in, with a list. What was that called?
A register?
Register, that's it.
There you go.
I'd forgotten. Yeah, they'll read their way off through the list, the register, if you will. And they'll be like, Tim, and you have to say present.
Present.
There we go. Good.
It was Sir when I was at school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Sir or Miss, depending which it was. Yeah.
Mine was always present.
We were probably just trying to play it cool. It was like, Tim, Sir.
Yeah, to be fair, it was probably different back in the Victorian era as well.
I'm going to let that one slide, Jackie.
Oh, no worries, mate. That's all right. You've been done there, to be fair. I've
been
done you dirty.
lampooned. There's absolutely no two ways about it. I'm not even trying to fight back from that one. What I am going to do is just keep that one in the memory banks, Jackie.
Just hold on to it. Hold on to it. Oh, man. There'll always be an opportunity to goof me, Tim, but I saw it. It presented itself. I had to come in. It was a swing and a hit.
Certainly was. You knocked that one out of the park. And right now, Team 1, they're knocking Oregon out of the park. 2-0 on the scoreboard, and they are fighting back. 2 maps to 1 down at this stage. Team Liquid, they only need to secure one more, coming in with a 1-map advantage to begin with. Just imagine if this one gets overturned, Jackie. If Team 1 can fight their way through Oregon to level things up and put themselves into an effective best of 1 on Consulate, oh boy, we are going to have a matchup on our hands, and there are going to be tears by the time that things are done.
It's what I want. It's what a lot of people want, I can only imagine, Tim, because it would be sick to have a grand final that really delivers at the end of the past 5 weeks of grueling competition here in the BR6. It wasn't the most prestigious one last time around with NIP FaZe, as FaZe just couldn't put up a fight. And it looked like it was going to be the same state of affairs here for Team 1, but they've come back in. They're really out of their shell now, and they're giving it into these rounds, which is beautiful. You get a win here in Oregon, we are going to be screaming by the time we get to Consulate. So hopefully it keeps on going that way. For Liquid though, they're not going to want that outcome. They're not going to like the idea of having to let this series go on for longer than it needs to. So you imagine they'll want to put Team 1 in their place. But their place right now is finding early entries, as Reduct comes in with a clean-up kill on Nesk. He's bitten back upon, though, by Moringa, that completely commits to try and capitalize with a follow-up, but he won't get it, Tim. So Team 1 down with a 3 versus 4. Can they save this one?
50 seconds left to decide whether it's possible or not. Now then, gonna have Foles just moving up those white stairs, trying to keep himself unpredictable, not playing directly in the sight at the minute. Moringa's going to find Raps and shut him down. The vertical control is not really availing them anything here as PSK finds Foles, and that is going to be Team Liquid almost certainly taking the round. Moringa, it will be once again, a number of kills on the round, shuts down for Leapox, and they take it 2-1 on the scoreboard now. Team Liquid desperately needed to come in and take that tertiary site. They could not allow Team 1 to have a full defensive sweep there.
No, not at all. It would have been a horrible spot to be left into. And it goes to show as well, of course, as much as we're speculating about the fact that Team 1 could take it to Consulate, it's still very much a reality that Liquid are only this map away from being crowned the champions if they win it. The opposite of what we saw back on round 1 for Raps, as this time it's a Warden pick that's 6-picked into a Valkyrie. rather than vice versa. Oh, Tim, this is the one map where Glaz wasn't banned out. Team 1 have been banning it out religiously throughout the entire major because Bodega was terrified about the idea of his newly rebuffed self coming out and doing some damage with a Moose Schools. This time, he's picked. He's being played by Sexy Cake.
Certainly an operator to keep a close eye on. Jackie, you are absolutely correct. He's very self-sufficient, is the Russian sniper. He's got the smoke canisters. He can bring them in, a thermal scope for himself as well, can see through them and really take advantage of that obscured vision of the defenders. Of course, when he moves, that thermal imaging element does drop away from his scope, but it recovers quite quickly now. That is the buff that he saw. So certainly a lot more viable, and want to keep an eye on Sexy Cake, see if he can really do some damage in the round or if he can be shut down. Now, we saw Glasby a bit of an explosive magnet when we saw him brought yesterday, I think it was. We'll see if that continues today.
Yeah, very true. Curious what Sexy will be able to establish with the sniper. If he'll lay down the law with that DMR or if he'll have another fort coming. So far, though, it is, of course, standard stuff. We're only at the 2-minute and 20 mark, so no reason for Liquid to just sprint into the unknown and give away free frags carelessly into the wind. They will keep it calm and take map control bit by bit. Palu has already made his play, though. Upstairs towards Dorms, he's now in the site with the drone clearing out the angle. He knows he's got safe passage. They are really hunting for any roamers as well. All of those drones skyrocketing it around. The automatons looking for the information of where Team 1's defense is. And I'll tell you where they are. They're all down in the lower levels. They're playing together, effectively just running crossfires and working on these angles so they can trade for one another if it goes wrong. This could be a thorn in their side, though. Falls and Lukid have to now watch the stairs and the hatch as it's opened up. It's a vertical angle that will favor Team Liquid with the position they're in. They've also got a drone set up to clear in case they push up with the shotgun. Drone will go down, and it will also go down as it finishes itself off with the shotty. We'll see another response where they chuck out the smoke as well. So they try and hold on to this for as long as they can, Tim. They've done a good job so far, as there isn't that much time left.
Sexy Cake still in the drones there, feeding information in. Diffuser in hand, so they're not going to want to use him too aggressively, but it is an operator that could have a big impact on this round. As you say, 1 minute 10 left to go, so certainly a little bit of pace needs to be picked up here by Team Liquid, but they do still have plenty of time. The Ash Breach in charge will go out from Nest just to clear off those rear stage stairs. Barbed wire just to try and ease the passage there, wants to make a challenge onto pillars very soon, but got 3 guns pointing in that direction. They need to be very, very careful. For Epox and Lukid holding it down. Reduct ready to back them up as well. Now, Nesk, he's just having a little peek there. He's just going to take account of what he can see. Sexy Cake moving down Laundry stairs instead of Palu this time. Just looking to apply pressure from the flip reverse opposite side of the site to Nesk.
There's the opening frag. You say his name and you invoke him, Tim, as he comes out swinging, backed up by his brother in arms as well, as Palu will cut his way through Reduct one by one. Say goodbye to Team 1 as it all falls onto the solo superstar, but Raps isn't able to clutch it. He might have got 2 kills, but that's the only positive memory he'll have of this round, as his head's knocked off by Nesk on the Ash, shuts it down, and gets Liquid another round to tie it back up and keep the game close here on Oregon.
Liquid have found their feet now, certainly got themselves rolling and got 2 rounds and a little bit of momentum as well. Those rounds have come back to back, and so much so that they are forcing Team 1 away from Laundry. They don't want any part of that, and they're going to move themselves up to Dorms this time around. They did win Dorms back in round 2, and it was reasonably comprehensive for them. If you remember Reduct coming in with a big flank, and Team Liquid could do absolutely nothing about it. They got the rest of the kills, but Reduct was never really close to being shut down. Now, Sexy Cake, he's just playing a game with them at this point, threatening the glass and then trading off onto the Maverick. Much more useful for what Team Liquid will be trying to achieve here on the Dorm site. They're going to be trying to open up plenty of reinforcements. They want the attic wall open, the closet wall open, potentially trophy through to attic open as well. So they need as much hard breach utility as they can get, really. PSK bringing along the Hibana this time instead of the Ace. And I think they need to have a bit more success in that region. That was one area that I think they struggled a little bit. They ended up just trying to throw the diffuser down right at the end of the round last time around, Jackie. Palu had a little bit of success from the double window, but it never really felt like they had meaningful control over Attic, or at least not until late in the round. The kill that came there was actually from a nade through kids' windows. It wasn't boots on the ground as such. And the big lesson, though, that Team Liquid need to take away is find all of those defenders. Make sure they're all accounted for. Don't let Reduct to just slide underneath you and then pop up on the far side and start picking kills up.
Reduct, definitely scary as well, is the fact that obviously if he gets back into a spot where he feels confident again, it'll be really hard to knock that wind from out underneath his wings. Talking of wind, though, it looks to be a windy round for Lukid, as all of his shots are going to miss. And Nesk will come in with the clean opener, forces him out of position. Actually, Jaeger gone, and he's not going to get much for his investment. It was a cheeky position to be in, looking for an early opening frag, but he gets fragged out. And this is a scary spot, Tim. You start off the round with your entry coming in scot-free with just a mere 10 damage taken onto PSK. You're going to be laughing all the way to the bank with that one. It means you've got basically the entire round a 5v4 advantage to now establish more map control. And when we then get into a late round push, if Team 1 want a turtle in the way they have been, it's going to be much harder for them to just pick up the pieces.
Team 1 need to start picking up entry frags. In 5 rounds, they've had 1 entry frag, 4 going in favour of Team Liquid, and you can't keep giving Team Liquid that sort of advantage. If there's any team in the world that are going to be able to benefit from that, to find some sort of payout, some sort of dividends out of that entry advantage, it's Team Liquid, and they will do you damage. And that's exactly what we've seen happen in round 3 and 4. They've been able to come out and really make that man advantage pay for them. Perhaps he's going to move in and just clear out a drone in the big tower there that was pinged out for him with that new ping 2.0 system. Now, Philippox, he sees the man just tickling the door for him of master bedroom there. He knows that the aggression is coming in his direction. He's going to dip away for the time being. He has a little thought of re-peeking, and I think he's still keen to challenge onto it, but certainly not with any real venom or sting in the tail at this point.
You're talking about venom, Tim. It looks like there's a scorpion play developing here. A pincer push that will be coming out from Liquid as they want to leak their way in from multiple different angles and overwhelm the defense of Team 1 that's already in a rough spot. 4v5 trying to stay alive with 30 seconds on the timer. Can they commit to that task? They hold Reduct again in a good angle where if he plays time and plays smart, he could peek out and find himself with a nice frag. It's Philippox and Raps that do the damage though, as they kill both Palu and PSK. There's trades back in favor of Liquid, and of course they destabilize the status quo, leaving it down to just one man here on Team 1. He's trying his best, but he can't find the kills. Philippox will hit the headshot onto Sexy, but that's it. One slice, one stab. In the end, Nest bites back and Liquid pick up another. Now they have the lead.
I was concerned it was going to be some devilish deja vu going on there, Jackie, as Reduct popped up those armory stairs once again, and he just really did threaten to punish Team Liquid, but they were a little bit more alive and alert to the danger this time, and Nesk able to shut things down at the end there. So 3 rounds in a row it is for Team Liquid, and they've really got themselves ahead of steam here. They are punishing Team 1 at every opportunity. Every mistake that is made, Team Liquid waiting to just take full advantage of that and get another round on the board, and they are racing towards that 3rd map that they need in the best of 5 here. But let's not forget, the pressure will start to mount. There's a lot of experience in the team of Team Liquid. I'd say one of the most experienced teams in the entire world of Siege. If you look across the lineup, you know, they really have been together for a long time as well. So it shouldn't affect them, but it still does. They know that as this goes on, the rounds mean more and more. They are one step closer each time to taking that title of LATAM Major Champion, and it will start to weigh on them. We might just start to see the odd bullet drifting away from its target here and there, and if that does start to happen, Team 1 need to be ready, and they need to pounce.
I want to pounce on the fact as well that I've noticed for Team 1 here, Tim. There's been a simple link from Clubhouse and Oregon, and that's the fact that Luke has had a slow start on both of those maps. He's 0-4 at the minute, working close to being the new James Bond if he keeps this up and doesn't find himself a kill, and he needs to change that. He has to get some shots on the board here because he was a huge reason of why Team 1 looked refreshed in Coastline. And at the minute, Tim, he's asleep again, and that is a horrible spot to be in for Team 1. Get him to wake up, bring this back to a 3-3 split, and keep it as close as you physically can on Oregon. That's the way I think they still have a chance to win this one. If it goes 4-2, at that point, I'd be biting my nails. I'd be worried if I'm a Team 1 fan, because you've got a side where, at the minute, they're not firing from all cylinders. Luke's starting to have a slow game, and they have a big disadvantage being 2 rounds down. That could do an awful lot to damage their mental game and really leave them in a rough spot, especially when Liquid now are starting to look like they're coming out of their shell again and are playing back with the same level of grandeur that we've had from them all over the previous days of the Major, Tim. We've just gotten under the 2-minute mark, and look how deep Nesk is already in. He's roaming around and actually could have first contact here against Raps. Pretty sharpish. The man's just lurking in the kitchen, and they want to force a fight on him.
This is where Team 1 need to be getting that entry frag. I mentioned it last time around. They're consistently playing a 4 versus 5 round now. Nesk, he's just lining up there. He knows that there's somebody on the opposite side. Philippox is going to look to push out of security. Nesk is fully aware, just dips out of his ADS at the wrong time. If he doesn't do that, that is definitely going to be a kill for him. But Philippox, not knowing just how lucky he is, will dip back inside of security. And Nesk takes the opportunity just to take out that Malushi Banshee on the wall. So that will allow him to push forward and get aggressive if he chooses to. Out goes the Valkyrie cam as well, just clearing utility as they go, and now that is a fantastic nade going inside of the security room from Palu there. Just manages to get the down onto Philippox. Now then, the challenge comes in from Nesk, but it's going to be Reduct who wins out on the Jaeger, taking the man down with a headshot, and that leaves us in an effective 4 versus 4. Out goes the Nitro, unsuccessful. Now then, we've got another down. Palu finishes off Reduct. Philippox, however, gets picked up, so we've got a direct switch that leaves us still in a 4v4. 40 seconds left to go. Team Liquid have found themselves 1 kill, but they're going to need a few more if they want to think about getting the diffuser down.
Final 30 seconds. A bloodbath is going to be coming our way, Tim, as Liquid have to be the ones to start it. They're waiting right now until the last possible seconds before they engage. PSK coming in on the flank as well as he'll slowly work further forward, skulking his way up. Lukid, however, he's scared the death. He's scared the look. He's shook. Oh, but you can tell that Sexy Cake ain't a halfway crook. He finds his entry frag onto Philippox and gives them an edge. Diffuser's going down. Lukid, quick rotate. Finds the frag onto Moringa as well with a pre-fire. Beautifully executed, and now it's manageable. If they can win this, Tim, if they can get back on site and pick up the kills, they could still find victory, but it's not looking likely. This should be a 4th round for Liquid as it all comes onto Lukid. 1 man and a dream. 30 seconds looming over him. He's got to get downstairs, get into where the diffuser's been planted, and also navigate his way around this death run, this gauntlet of Liquid players that are holding every single angle. They know exactly where he is. Surely it's good night, Tim. 14 seconds remain. He's going to be biting himself as he pushes in. Pre-fires popping and weaving, but they just waste time, and they've done it. Team Liquid get 4 rounds on the half.
Doing everything he can there, Lukid just coming in, ducking, dipping, diving, dodging everywhere that he could, but just could not make bullets land, could not get on the diffuser, and watched that time tick away. The sand in his hourglass just passing through his fingers. Jackie unable to stop it, unable to prevent the flow of time from defeating him, and that's going to be the 4th round on the board for Team Liquid. Now coming into the defense, you really do start to worry for Team 1. Where will their attacking rounds come from? We've got Laundry, we've got Dorms, we've got 2 very good sites there. And Team Liquid, they only need 3 rounds to close this out, to crown themselves the November Major champions for LATAM. They are within touching distance. You know they can smell it now, Jackie. They can feel it. I'm sure the hairs on their arms are standing on end. The electricity will be running through the team. They know that the excitement is there, the emotion ready to just burst forth. They are only rounds away from everything they have worked for this year.
If Team Liquid win on Oregon, if they pick this up, if they shut it down, and end the game in the second half here, Tim, that's a 3-1 split. That's them winning the best of 5 and walking away, heads held high, as the 5 best and brightest in Brazil. As the organization's finest crowning moment, they will win the November Major, and they will become the new champions. That's what they can achieve off the sweat of their own brow if they maintain this level of lethality that we're seeing from them tonight. And that's also if, Tim, Team 1 don't somehow get back into the game. Team 1 now on their attack. Is this going to be a blessing or a curse? That's the big question mark for me.
20 seconds in, and early aggression coming in from Team 1 again. It's something that we saw out of them on coastline on the attack, and it wasn't always the best thing that they could do. They did lose those entry battles, Luki particularly going in sometimes with a lack of information and being shut down, and that's something they need to be careful that they don't do here. Giving 3 kills away from Team Liquid is basically putting the final nail in their coffin at this point in time. They need to come out and they need to be practically flawless here. They can't be making easy and cheap mistakes. They can't be giving Team Liquid any more opportunity than they already have. Now, Moringa, he's going to try and play a little bit of a game there underneath the hatch, but he just decides he's going to take his ball and go home, collects the electrical ore, and dips back into sight.
If he's not allowed to play, Tim, no one can. He'll go home and he'll put the ball back on the shelf, keeping it safe until he feels like bringing it out again on another sunny day. Is the sun going to be shining for Team 1 though here in round 7? Well, a lot of things are pointing against that, but they have all the natural tools to get themselves back in it. Maverick being one of those tools of the trade as he starts to open up the hatch and gives them another access point. There's not really too much aggression as well from Liquid. They really are just coasting this one out and waiting for the final fight down on site. They are content with the idea of playing for a full 5-on-5. You know what? A 5v4 makes it even easier. Moringa swings out, shuts down Raps and gives them the early entry, and that's an Ashe that's fallen as well. So this could really harm them late round, Tim.
It could, you know, and we often look at Ashe and say she's all about just getting in there and getting entry frags, and losing her early in the round isn't the end of the world. But as the meta shifts as it does, and we are quite utility focused at this point in time, Ashe is fulfilling a different role and getting in there, burning those ADSs, burning those Wamai magnets, and playing a big part of that ability to move into the site in the late round for the execute. So losing her with still a minute and a half to go and losing those potential flashbangs, breaching charges that can clear out that defensive utility can be a big loss. Now, Nesk, talking of a big loss, he's going to find one onto Reduct. You can't allow Palu to hit you with a turn and burn like that. Believe Pox had a free kill on his hands, but somehow Palu just whips round 180 and absolutely removes the man. Moringa finds one onto Falls, and this is all going wrong for Team 1. They are staring down the barrel of a flawless round. They're just going to let the time tick by. They need to take a breather here, Jackie, because this one is rushing away from them. They are clutching at it, but they just cannot get a grasp of this game as Team Liquid, they really are firing on all cylinders. A final challenge from Lukid. It's just a dying swing as he takes Moringa out of the round. Team Liquid, they are looking great. Team 1 taking the opportunity to have a bit of time in the comms there and just see what they can do, what they can change. They need to steady the ship here.
Oh, man. I don't know if they're going to be able to, Tim. At this point, it feels like that ship has sailed into the Bermuda Triangle and is going to go missing, never to be found again, because they will be leaving the tournament in second place here if they concede a couple more rounds. That's what's looming over them. That's the fog that's encompassing them at the minute. It's a 5-2 split, and Liquid are cleaning up. They have gone in looking like the janitors at this point, and Team 1 are very reminiscent of a spilt drink. They're not putting up much of a fight and are going away with just one sheet. If they don't return fire, do something different, get back into it, start laying down the law somewhat, Tim, then this will be a very quick finish on Oregon, as Liquid are 1 round away from a guaranteed overtime, 2 rounds away from winning the major.
It's an interesting site choice coming out from Team Liquid. They have foregone domes. They're not going to take the top floor hold, which many might have expected. Instead, they're going to be heading to kitchen and dining this time around. And there is, of course, the possibility they might just catch Team 1 on the back foot a little bit here. They will, of course, mentally have been prepared for the potential dorms coming in. There is still going to be a presence in dorms Team Liquid looking to hold down those vertical angles and not let Team One get that superiority over them, but still, it's certainly an interesting sight. So Team One, they will likely push in and try to either clear the roam of the top floor. Meanwhile, they will probably get themselves into small tower as well and try to push directly into site from there. But it really does need to be a combined push. You can't just allow Team Liquid to sit up there because they can just deny the plant all day long through that hatch.
Okay, round 8. We're back into it, Tim. We're getting closer and closer towards the potential timeline where we are crowning our new champions, our new best of Brazil. If Liquid can keep this up and just get 2 more rounds, that's all they need to end it here. For Team One, they really need to show that resilience. They also need to show an awful lot more confidence when it comes to players like Lukid. Get in there, cause a bit of carnage, run amok. At the minute, he's playing a bit scared. 2-5 on the total tally. It's a bit disappointing to see. As other than that, Tim, he's had a great run here at the Major. But when it matters most, turning up huge in the finals, he's gone quiet. And that's the exact opposite of what his backstory normally is. Every time we speak to Bodega, he says that Lukid always turns up for big games. Well, this is as big as a game gets, Tim. And he's not here at the minute.
And if he's going to turn up, he is certainly running out of time to do so, Jackie. 2 rounds it will take now for Team Liquid to close this one out. Put the 3rd successive map on the board that they need. Palu taking the kill onto Reduct. It seems like a slippery slope. It really feels like Team One are broken at this point. Of course, Liquid have had 5 rounds in a row, Jackie. There just doesn't seem to be any stopping them. It's as if they've decided that enough is enough right now, and this is the time that they come forward and crown themselves champions. This is the time that they take the major crown away from NIP. And that is exactly what they're going to try and do. In comes the smoke utility. Raps, he starts to take some damage, but falls. He's getting the diffuser down in amongst the chaos here. Moringa with a team kill onto Sexy Cake, and it all seems to have gone wrong right now as the diffuser does get confirmed. 4 versus 3 though. Team Liquid do have the man advantage, but Fleepox, he starts to see to that with a kill onto PSK. Falls gets in on the action as well. This could be the brakes being applied by Team One as death reigns in to Team Liquid now. Out comes the peak from Malusi, shut down by Lukid with a double. You wanted more, Jackie. He just served it up.
All right, here we go. Lukid actually starting to come back into a round and do a bit of damage. This is what I've been hoping for, as he's been rather quiet. That's better, though. He's turning the decibels up. That fader is being pumped up. He's just got to keep working on getting that louder and louder, Tim. We're now 5-3. The difference here is manageable. It's only 2 rounds to equalize it on Oregon and bring us back to a level playing field of just a set 5-5 split. At that point, it could be anyone's game, but it scares me a little. Sexy Cake. He transitions off Valkyrie and goes back on to Clash. Sexy Cake, I've said it many times, he's unreal on those shielded operators. He is so annoying to deal with. If you come against Sexy Cake's Clash, you're never going to be able to get past her. She will block off any choke point and leave you frustrated, Tim.
It really does. You know, you're right to pick up on that, and it does seem to be the punctuation mark at the end of a performance for Team Liquid, doesn't it? When they get to a point where they need to take it over the line, you can almost guarantee that Sexy Cake is going to bring along the Clash. It just really does seem to be that position now. They don't want to burn it out. They don't want to use it consistently throughout and have teams develop strategies specifically against it, but they are certainly willing to turn up with the big shield when it matters most and when they need to edge themselves over the line. So the question here is, how are Team One going to deal with that Clash? They of course have Lukid on the Zofia, so those lifeline stun grenades, 2 of them brought along. That is 2 opportunities to force Clash to move that shield away. Otherwise you're getting into the realms of having to get up close and personal with a melee, or try and get in on the backside and hit them on the flank in those unprotected sides and rear. But Palu playing down in the basement at the minute, just again trying to be tricky, trying to just make them think twice about rushing in. He's on the Jaeger. We know that he can do some serious damage on that carbine. Giving one of the best players in the world one of the best guns in the game is certainly a dangerous combo. Now, Palu finds himself on the opposite side of the wall. I think it's the Reduct here. I'm just going off the silhouettes there. I think it was the Nomad. He was just Wasn't quite aware that there was somebody on the opposite side, picked up by a drone that's going to force him back to side. It was indeed Reduct2 will come round hot on the tail of Palu, but not have the opportunity to shut him down.
We're under the 2-minute mark. For Team Liquid, there's already been some close encounters that they were unaware of into this round, but no casualties, no one in a body bag, everyone's still alive and kicking. And they have to go down kicking and screaming into this round. If they get it, they'll have guaranteed OT. If they lose it, Team 1 will be 1 round away from bringing the game back. And they know how important that is, so they're not risking things. They're not rushing it, Tim. They're playing it quite slow and methodical, slowly working further forward, looking like a well-oiled machine, taking calculated peaks. But they don't have that much time left. We do have 1 minute and 20 on the clock. Peak coming in from Falls as he peers into dorms and wants to send them to sleep forever. But no one's there. No one's facing him. He can't get the backstab onto the shield of Sexy that he's probably desiring here. Reduct makes a bit of noise as well and baits out the peak from the Jaeger, but he loses out in the encounter. There's a trade back as Palu will hit that shot onto him. They go down together. Oh, it's going to be rough. It couldn't have come at a worse time. A trade like that is going to leave you scratching your head. And we're in a 4-on-4 with 50 seconds left. Team 1 make their play. Smoke's going in, but there's another smoke return favor. And that one's a whole lot more lethal. Issue is, Tim, they're dying. We're down to a 3v3. 35 seconds left. Felipox commits to the diffuser. Gets it down, but there's frags occurring all over the gaff. As we're left into a 1-on-1, it all comes down to this. Felipox, 16 in the clip and 1 in the hole. Felipox about to make some bodies turn cold if he can hit this follow-up shot. Moringa rotates up the stairs, peeking in with Big Papa Pump. He's got the shotgun with an attitude, and he wants to send him to sleep, Tim. Switches to the SMG. Smoke canister goes in, blocks off the choke point. Brilliant play, but he's still got to hit the shot if he wants to defuse this one. Peeks in behind. Can't quite see him. Charges forward as the nades drops. He drops him. The Maverick's gone. Massacred in an instant. The 6 rounds been achieved for Liquid. As the disable comes in, they're 1 round away from winning the major.
The speed of the peak on the shotgun from Moringa was just something else there, Jackie, as he just sprung around the corner. He was back in cover before that shot landed. It was absolutely unreal. And what about how calm and collected he was? The speed of thought to get those toxic babe canisters out. They are doing multiple things for him there, and he's aware of every single one. First and foremost, they're cutting off the rotation options. He's pinning him back into a corner because he knows he's not going to take the risk of moving through that noxious gas, but they're also obscuring the view. It allowed him to get within range. That's what he really wanted. He wanted him within that lethal range of the shotgun, and he managed to get close enough, working his way through that smoke to be able to really do the damage, and that puts Team Liquid in a situation now where they are guaranteed overtime as a minimum here on Oregon, and heading back down to Laundry, Jackie. I think we could be 3 minutes away from crowning a new major champion.
It looks likely. It looks entirely possible at this point, Tim. Especially when you just look at the frag divide on either side. You're looking at Liquid, and you'd be licking your lips at some of the plays that are coming out from these big names. Moringa, 11-4. Palu, 11-4. Nesk, 7-5. The only 2 that are a little bit quieter are PSK and Sexy, but it doesn't matter because that 3 frags and those 4 kills there, they've both been impact frags. They've been incredibly important when they have come in. Whereas for Team 1, the entire squad's struggling to pull it together. No one's pulling ahead of the pack and picking up the dead weight, Tim. Unfortunately, at the minute, they're all struggling, and you cannot afford to struggle at a point like this. They have to do something drastic now. Any mistakes will result in them losing, exiting the tournament, and being set with a 2nd place. That will mean that Team Liquid will be our new champions if they win this round right here.
Attention being paid immediately from construction to bunker. Nomad unfortunately takes a flashbang to the bonds there, Jackie.
Right on the nose, mate. That'll leave him with a bit of a red one. He'll be looking like Rudolph.
5 HP will go along with it. It happens when you're in there, and I tell you what, you'd rather it was a flashbang to the back of their head than a bullet. That is all that Reduct will be thanking his lucky stars for. But they've burnt a lot of utility inside that bunker entrance and then completely dipped away from it. They have now moved away to try and push around the map to pod to prod to proc to try and find any sort of gap they can in the Team Liquid defense, but it's going to take a real sizable effort here from Team One to close this down. Pala still holding a very aggressive line there. PSK looking to move up those rear stage stairs. He was ready to make a challenge there, but thinks better of it and dips away. I think that's probably the sensible decision. They don't want to be giving lives away early, don't Team Liquid. And right now, the pressure, it will start to mount slowly here, but Team One have still got a bit of utility to work through. They haven't cleared out the barbed wire from the rear stage stairs yet. Philippox is just opening the hatch in the meeting hall just to try and gain access towards pillars. Palu, he knows that somebody's going to push him from there eventually.
1 minute and 20 seconds left. The final minute and 20 that can decide whether or not Liquid will be grabbing the crown and being our new champions of the BR6. That's what could happen here very soon if they play their cards right. Nesk holds on towards the stairway, firing off warning shots and trying to keep them paranoid about pushing down. They've got their multiple angles opened up at this point, and they are ready to make a final attack. But Team One, you got to hit your shots, Tim. No room for error now. Smoke's being dropped in from the top. Last-minute reinforcements going down, and Nest gets off the nitro. Luckily, Philippox hadn't fully committed to the drop, or he would have been taking a long dirt nap. And this really puts the pressure on them as Nest peeks out. It's all going wrong, Tim. We're in a 4v2. Team One might be out of the major as they get shut down by Palu. He lets his guy explode and lays all those busters down. It's GG as Liquid are crowned the champions of the 6 major. They've done it. They've came, they've seen, and they have conquered, Tim. A 7-3 victory over Team One.
Team Liquid were a raging torrent throughout, Jackie, but there on Oregon they managed to transform into a mighty maelstrom that just sucked in Team One and washed them away right out of the major. And Team Liquid crowned champions this time, and they have got their just rewards there. That is exactly what they've been working so hard towards. We've seen the growth, we've seen the impact that Mav has had coming in and just expanding that backroom staff, and honestly, Team Liquid thoroughly deserve every one of those $50,000, every one of those 285 points that go towards that SI 2021 qualification. They have been by far and away, Jackie, head and shoulders the best team in this major.
Hands down. Hands down. They've looked sick. Team Liquid, unbelievable stuff. They win the major. They do it. They concede one map, by the way. One map over the entire major. That's it. That's all they've lost. They had cleaned up every other series. 2-0, 2-0. They get to the final, and they walk away with a 3-1 victory, picking up the final piece on Oregon. And as you said, Tim, that means they net themselves not only the cash, not only the SI points, but the bragging rights. We said last major when Nip won it, they were the best in Brazil. There was a lot of reasons that pointed to that fact, but now it seems like there's a new king in town, and there's 5 of them. Team Liquid, lock it down.
I mean, it's just that validation, isn't it? They've put in so much work. They've changed a few things around with Sexy Cake moving on to the support, PSK moving more towards flex. There's been changes, and it's now just that solid validation that, you know what, everything we've done, all the rich time, all the hard work, all the minutes, hours, blood, sweat, tears that we have poured in to this second stage, they have been worth it. They have been put in the right places, and we are now the best in the region.
They are. They are indeed, Tim. They've done it. They've toppled everyone that they needed to. They have beaten every team all the way through. They've dismantled them into the final, and it looked like it was going to be a flawless run throughout the major, but one map is all Team One were able to take off them. Just coastline. That was it. That was the only thing they dropped, but they won't be dropping their crowns, Tim. They're going to be happy with this result. You've got to imagine, right? The comeback from the August major, where they went out very swiftly. They exited in 3rd to 4th. This time around, you've won it. That's got to be huge for confidence.
Oh, it's a massive bounce back, isn't it? You know, coming in, and as we've said, they haven't had the best of stages. In
No.
reality, they haven't been as solid as Team One. They haven't been as sharp as NIP, but they've quietly gone about their business. They've put the foundations in place, and then they've come and just smashed it at exactly the right time. It's basically exactly the same as NIP did in Stage One. Slightly quiet through the regular season, and then just bring the big toys out when you get to the major and just show exactly what you are about.
Man, it's crazy as well, right? Because basically the whole time we were talking about the fact that they look different. They look like a different side. They were playing much more tactically because of the influence of Mav being added to the roster, and we weren't seeing them just pulling out the big guns of Palu and Nesk. But that all changed at the major, Tim. They incorporated the tactical style of play very well with what is some of the best aimers we've got in the scene, and they were just popping off. They were hitting their shots and playing smart, and it was wonderful to witness. We do have an interview as well. We're getting Palu ready to join us, and we can pick his brains because we need to. He is a king by nature and now a king by fact, Tim, as he's helped them win the major.
That's it, a major champion, and I mean, we know he's a talismanic leader of the team as well. They can always rely on him. You know, obviously we've seen some struggles within the team, and that's one thing that they said is we know we can always rely on Palu to come out and get those kills, to get the performance that we need to drive us forward, and that really is a position that he has personified and fulfilled throughout this major.
Oh, absolutely, man. He went off on Clubhouse to start the whole damn thing, so it's only right we speak to the man that popped off. We've got him ready to join us. We're bringing on in Palu, and we'll chat to him about Team Liquid's win tonight, as they have won the major 3-1. Palu, how you doing, mate? Congratulations.
Hello guys, I'm doing great. Like, we just won, right?
You did, you definitely did.
It was real. Don't worry, it was real. Yeah. Although it must have felt like a dream, man. If we can, I want to start with Clubhouse, because individually, you went off. You had more frags than the entirety of Team 1 combined for about 6 rounds.
I don't know how to say, like, I was just playing mine, and it happened.
I mean, looking at Clubhouse, Palu, what happened there? Team One, they just really didn't feel like they showed up. But was that you were on top of them, or you were just winning all the gunfights? What was it that happened there?
Clubhouse, I think we won a lot of gunfights, but we are really solid right now. I think it's one of our best maps. Yeah, for sure, it's one of our best maps. We knew what they were going to do. Like, they can change a lot of things from the day to the another, and it was like the match yesterday. We didn't find anything new. Like, it was just that.
Oh man, it's lovely to get to speak to you after this, Palu. I can already see the emotion, man. I've got to ask though, was Mav holding on to that Pikachu again tonight? Because it certainly helped you in the final.
Yes, it was. We all guys we were yelling like Pikachu, Pikachu after we won.
So coming out of Coastline and on to Oregon, obviously Team One had started that fight back. Was there a little bit of a mental reset needed within the team, or were you guys never really worried too much?
We actually never really were like, we knew they were picking Coastline. We predicted the whole like map video, and we knew it's a great map for them and not a good map for us like recently. And we just played ours. I know, like, we came back in the defense some rounds, but we lost ourselves on the last 1 or 2 rounds, and it was close details. We have to change on the coastline. It's not been a great a great map for us in a while, and we are fixing them for the next matches.
Oh, man, obviously at this point, Palu, it's what is coming next, right? Because we know
Yeah.
you're going to SI now. You've got that set in the bag. Is that where the focus is going to be put towards? Are you looking to just really bring the ruckus at SI?
Yes, of course. We have like the BR6 finals in November. I don't know the day exactly, but we are preparing ourselves well for that. To like, we won the past one, and we are preparing ourselves to I don't know how to say it. Like, is keep the trophy, you know. And I think the last interview I had with you guys, I told you that we were like training a lot, try to adapting stuff. We're why we lost like 3 matches on the BR6, I think. And how I said, like we got a little better and adapting, and I think it was like the difference in those in the major, you know.
Oh man, it's genuinely been a treat to watch you progress this far, Paolo. It's been an awesome run at the major, and again, congratulations, brother. You've deserved every minute of it. Before we let you go to really go and celebrate with the rest of the team, is there any final thoughts? Anything you want to say? Anything from the heart?
I just like wanna thank you everybody that was cheering for us. It was like insane week for us. Like we we gave us like the 100%, and we did our best. Like just going to improve and get better for the invitational.
All right, lovely stuff, man. You and the lads and Pikachu, enjoy it, brother. You crowned the best in Brazil. You've done it. You've won the major, Palu. Enjoy
Thank,
it.
thank you very much, guys. Always nice to see you.
Oh
Congratulations,
man,
man.
congratulations, Tim. What a treat. What a treat, genuinely. The little feature from Pikachu at the end caught me again, but
I mean, he had
what
to
a
make his
legend.
way in there. And this is what I love about Team Liquid, Jackie. That interview, it's not just about what we've seen with Palu there, but look at what's going on in the background. We've got Silence waving at us. We've got Mav coming in with the Pikachu. There's obviously a lot of fun. There's obviously a lot of camaraderie within the team, and it really does show itself in the server. They are there not just playing for themselves, they are playing for each other as players on the team, but they are playing for every single person in that organization and every fan at home as well. And for that reason, you really can't help but just love Team Liquid.
No, no, you can't. Genuinely, they've got so many stands out there, and I don't blame any of them. I imagine Jenna is losing her mind right now, and so are probably the entire fandom of Team Liquid, because you should be. They've rocked up, they've dominated, Tim. They nearly had a major run where they didn't drop a single map. They've lost one map over 3 days of competition here in the bracket. That's unheard of, really.
It's been an absolutely crazy run for them, and I'll be honest. Coming in, I was, you always want to think of Team Liquid as a favourite. You know that they've got the ability, but I just thought with the performances that we'd seen, I thought we don't really know what to expect. They said themselves they were going to bring some new things. We saw them play a lot of coastline and not really too much else, and you sort of started worrying a little bit, thinking, are we going to see the best out of them? But boy, did they step up and prove that when the time mattered, and it's just been wonderful to watch them. It's really been a special performance from Team Liquid. There's a few games there that I'm going to go and have another watch over, Jackie. It's exciting to sit on this side of the camera, of course, and to enjoy the moment at the time, but there's a few that I just want to go back and sort of absorb as well and see and break down in a little bit more detail, because they've done some fantastic things.
Oh no, genuinely. It's the sort of maps as well with Oregon where you could watch that back and really soak in all of the detail, because there was so much to it. Coastline again as well is definitely the gem of the final for me, because it was so close and there was a possibility where, this would have been the 3-0 team. It never would have happened. So the fact we got a game that was that close with Liquid looking as good as they are, that's definitely worth a watch back.
It certainly is. As I say, plenty of moments, plenty of highlights throughout that major. We will, of course, have plenty of those for you to watch when we're done here, so don't go anywhere. But, for me, Jackie, that has been one of my favourite tournaments that I've cast in Siege. It's been a lot of fun. We've had, like you say, close games. We had NIP fighting their way back into it when all lost for them against MIBR. We've had 7-1s. We've had 2-0s in terms of maps, and then we've had it fought right to the wire. We've had the mixed bag of everything that you could hope to see.
Oh no, genuinely, Tim, it's been so much fun, mate. Like the past 3 days, the amount of games we've casted together, just me and you for 10-hour stints, non-stop, no breaks. I wouldn't change it for the world. It's been incredible. It's genuinely been a treat to share this time with you and get to see these teams flourish, Tim. The major's been amazing. I genuinely hope that everyone out there has had a great time and just enjoyed it. It's awesome that Ubisoft and Faceit have allowed us, of course, to bring this to the English-speaking audience and allow you to get to grips with the BR6. We had that little intro video at the start showing you the heights that the Brazilian scene's reaching, and I think this is just another notch on that ladder, Tim.
Oh, I would totally agree. Absolutely. We've really tried our hardest and we've had great feedback, and thank you everybody, that has sent those messages. We see them all. So, we are very grateful, and the production as well, producer Simon, Jacob on the replays, everybody here has just been working as hard as possible to give the best broadcast that we can. But ultimately, we can't do that without the teams and the players, delivering in the server. And boy, have they done that throughout the stage. And of course, we've got to give thanks once again to the observers, Palomidas and Duda Ravella as well. Both done a fantastic job. And the moderators, just everybody that helps us bring this to the screen.
No, there is indeed so many cogs that go into this to make BR6 the moving masterpiece that it is. So again, we give thanks to all of those beautiful people that make it possible. It wouldn't work with just me and Tim. We don't have the know-how. We're not the tech wizards like Simon and co are. So they at least do the things behind the scenes to allow us to just ramble on the mic and do what we do best. And Tim, what a beautiful day it's been. The major is over. It's finished and Team Liquid are your new champions. Again, one final time, thank you so much to the incredible outpour of people we had tonight. We were breaking viewership here for the English-speaking BR6, and it was incredible to see. Hopefully you'll join us again when we're back on your screens in the future. But for now, we will be dipping out to watch back and enjoy Liquid's win. We'll catch you next time.
Sé lo que siento, pero tú no. Nos entendemos haciendo el amor. No hay nada más que eso, estamos perdidos, perdidos. Yo no sé si fue algo más que el placer. Si me amaste alguna vez, o si fuiste mi mujer. Lo que he visto y lo que te gusta, amor de tu vida yo no voy a hacer. Dame una noche, te voy a demostrar que soy el pecado que amas con él. Chica, y si tú quisieras una sola vez conmigo, hay que ser claro lo que quieres beber. Ya pasó tu primavera y el amor que se fue, pero las ganas de darle aumentan cada vez. Sé lo que siento, pero tú no. Nos entendemos haciendo el amor. No hay nada más que eso, estamos perdidos, perdidos. Y yo te resumo en el desayuno. Éramos pares, no éramos uno ni un te amo. Solo había sexo, nada cariño, solo pretextos. Estaría fácil si lo sabría y no llenaras de fantasías. Ya me dijiste lo que quería, no eran besos ni poesía. Chica, y si tú quisieras una sola vez conmigo, hay que ser claro lo que quieres beber. Ya pasó tu primavera y el amor que se fue, pero
shot for me.
Perfect.
Pa' que el CP se dé cuenta que aquí perdió esa mujer. Lo que quiere es enloquecer, ser la mujer que él quería ver. Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, que yo parezca en él. lo que ella quiere. Disfruta la noche, lo anormal. Creo que el novio teme que su relación va a terminar. Se da cuenta que no necesita a alguien más. Quiere un selfie para su Instagram. Ella ya no quiere relación, alguien que diga su condición, que solamente le dé traición, para después llegar con un perdón. Quiere hangar y ser de esos babies que goza la vida y lo hacen como esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, ella quiere ver. Para que el CP se dé cuenta que aquí perdió esa mujer, perdió esa mujer. Lo que quiere es enloquecer, ser la mujer que él quería ver. Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, que yo aparezca en mí, que yo aparezca en mí. No tiene sueños, solamente en sus sueños nos ponemos risueños con un norteño y mi flow brasileño. Yo te juro que es bueno, ya me doy el palo. Ese empate si lo desigualo. Le gusta lo honesto y lo malo. Me traje un regalo. Ella ya no quiere relación, alguien que diga su condición, que solamente le dé traición, para después llegar con un perdón. Quiere hangar y ser de esos babies que goza la vida y lo hacen como esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, ella quiere ver, ella quiere ver. Para que el CP se dé cuenta que aquí perdió esa mujer, perdió esa mujer. Lo que quiere es enloquecer, ser la mujer que él quería ver. Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, que yo aparezca en mí, que yo aparezca en mí. Dime todo lo que ella quiere, nada ha sido regalado. Entre más independiente, más quiero estar a su lado. Es de esas nenas, mata, es que más. Ella está plena la noche entera. Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, ella quiere ver, ella quiere ver. Para que el CP se dé cuenta que aquí perdió esa mujer, perdió esa mujer. Lo que quiere es enloquecer, ser la mujer que él quería ver. Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, que yo aparezca en mí, que yo aparezca en mí. No, 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 no hice, Baker, rap, no. Vamos, que quieres es bailar, mi amor, ¿no? Ella quiere farra, 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 farra. Ella quiere farra, farra, farra. Ella está soltera, no tiene alguien que la amarra. Farra, 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 farra. Ella quiere farra, farra, farra. Ella está soltera, no tiene alguien que la amarra. Ella quiere farra. Llegó el mariachi con la guitarra, por lo que se narra. Su mejor amiga es la barra. Como Colgate me pone bien clean. Dame tu Facebook o dame tu pin. ¿Es el comienzo o será el fin? No me importa porque ya me dice que siento que tú y yo sentimos lo mismo. Nos ha cuadrado como si fuera algoritmo. Te vuelves loca cuando escuchas mi ritmo. Ella se lo canta como si fuera un himno. Ella quiere farra, 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 farra. Ella quiere farra, farra, farra. Ella está soltera, no tiene alguien que la amarra. Farra, 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 farra. Ella quiere farra, farra, farra. Ella está soltera, no tiene alguien que la amarra. Como tú vives, te cuento que tú eres una por ahí de miles. Estás más buena que Paloma y no eres de Chile. Tú hablando de cross y yo en bici, soy Carlos Vives. Como tú vives, te cuento que tú eres una por ahí de miles. Estás más buena que Paloma y no eres de Chile. Tú hablando de cross y yo en bici, soy Carlos Vives. Es el proceso, no lo que vale. Solo disfruta, seamos normales. Yo soy la cobra pa' todo eso male. Y soy un pro para para esos desembales, desembales, para esos desembales, desembales. Y soy un pro para esos desembales. Ella quiere farra, 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 farra. Ella quiere farra, farra, farra. Ella está soltera, no tiene alguien que la amarra. Farra, 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 farra. Ella quiere farra, farra, farra. Ella está soltera, no tiene alguien que la amarra. Siento que tú y yo sentimos lo mismo. Nos ha cuadrado como si fuera algoritmo. Te vuelves loca cuando escuchas mi ritmo. Ella se lo canta